We'll do it live. Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. I am back. I don't really want to be back. Not feeling so great. My wife and the baby got sick last week, and I was able to avoid it, but I picked it up this week, it feels like. So the last couple of days I've been kind of dragging. But I'm here. I'm happy it's Tuesday. We're back in town. We were helping my in-laws get ready for their move, although they're not moving just yet. Still a few weeks, but it's going to be our last chance to get out there and help them. So it was good to say goodbye to the house one last time. They've had the home 30 years. My wife grew up there, and so it's sad. Sad that it's no longer going to be part of the family. So we wanted to take the last opportunity. We thought our last trip out was going to be the final trip. And then it turned out that we were able to squeeze in this one extra. So that's where I was. And I kind of disconnected. I disconnected from just online. I'm not doing this fusion. I basically didn't play raid other than just log in to do my dailies. And it was kind of refreshing. It's been a long time. It's been at least a year since I've done that, if not longer. So yeah, it was a nice little break. So if you reached out to me and I didn't get back to you, that's why. But now I'm back. I'm home. We've got a guaranteed Inquisitor Shamail for 30 Void Shards. If you don't have one of this guy, and let's say you're a low spender, low to mid spender, it would probably be worth it. If you're a free-to-play player, I would save your Void Shards for a 2x. I think Shamail is great, but by himself, he doesn't really... he helps. But he's not going to really unlock anything on his own. So, plus once you get up into the higher difficulties, you can still use him, but I don't know. The only thing about it right now is that they've got the soul. Right, so where is it? Is it here? No, it's not here. It's here. Tournament? Yeah, it's a tournament. The Soul Chase tournament. And if you land in the top 3 in the tournament, you've got a soul here. Now, if you can't get at least the 4-star soul, the 3-star soul is not really going to be super helpful. It's not bad. You can always put a Phantom Touch on, and a 3-star Phantom Touch is not bad. But the 4-star is where you get the extra crit damage. The 5-star is where you start to get some interesting, bonuses and mechanics there. I think at the 5-star soul, you get the extra accuracy and resistance, which is kind of nice. Right, so here you'd get the extra resistance and accuracy. Plus the 5-star effect is usually pretty significant. Although with Shamail, it's like, generally if you're using them, you're going to use them with Phantom Touch if you're trying to do damage with them. And if you're not trying to do damage with them, it's like, then I don't know that you need a 5-star soul, so it feels like a lot. I've done one of these before. I did one of these to get my first Demitha. It took me over 2 years to get my Demitha, and I was finally like, oh, okay, I'm doing it. And I think she was 40 Void Shards, and I had like 41 or 43 or something, and I was like, okay, I'm doing it. It might have been 30, actually. I'm not sure it was 40. I feel like it was 40. And I would say at the time it felt like maybe it was worth it, but looking back on it, I already had a 1-key Ultra Nightmare, and I'm not using Demitha in my unkillable team. Like, I tried for a while to make her relevant, and I barely use her on this account. So, 40 shards thrown at a champion that I use very little. Now, that was where my account was. Now, if you don't have your, if you don't have your 1-key Ultra Nightmare, yeah, it would be worth it probably to go get a Demitha, but for me, it was a bit of a throwaway. The real reason I did it the real reason I did it is because Demytha was originally part of a fusion. I don't remember exactly which fusion she was part of, but she was one of the first fusions that I was playing raid. And I went for her. I didn't go for the legendary. I went for her and I messed it up. And if I remember correctly, the reason I messed it up is because there was a clock change. Like here in the US, I don't know if everybody does this everywhere, but in a lot of places, you know, they have a daylight savings time. And so the clock changes by an hour, and I lost an hour and I missed by 5 fragments. And so for like a year and a half or 2 years, I had to, like in here, I had 95 Demytha fragments. And I had to look at those 95 fragments and just feel that pain for 2 years. And so when she finally came up and was guaranteed, I was like, yeah, I'm going for her. I'm getting her. I have to get past this. I needed closure, you know, so that was the price of my Void Shards. And they're like the only Void Shards I've ever pulled, not during a 2x event. But yeah, that was for a very special case. I don't think I feel that way about Shamail. He's a very good champion, but I don't think he's worth all of this. That being said, I mean, there's a 2x event going on right now, right? So now this irks me. It's a 2x chance of 6-star perfect souls only, as opposed to all the souls, which would be nice. Or like a 5-star soul as well. You know, like it should be. Let's see, Immortal Soulstone. I would like this doubled. I would like the 5-star chance doubled to 24%. But it's still nice. It's still nice. And this is, you know, the chance here is improved. Not a lot, but the 5 and 6-star are improved here with Immortal Soulstone. So 4.5% chance of getting a pretty good soul there. You know, so, I mean, the chance of it being like a legendary that I use or an epic that I use, pretty low. But I will be pulling these probably tomorrow. I'm going to be going for this. So I'll be getting this Immortal Soulstone. I'm going for the Prism crystals. Because the summon pool is pretty decent, I don't really need anybody here. I don't need anybody here, and I don't expect much. But I don't own Oh, no, I just pulled Rotos, didn't I? I just pulled Rotos. I actually pulled him off, like not on video, off recording. I just pulled a random shard the other day for, I don't know if it was CVC or something. And I pulled a Rotos and reset my Mercy, which was whatever. So now I own all of these champions except Wallmaster Athorian, who's kind of cool. I wouldn't mind getting him just to flesh out the roster. Oh, I don't own Hefrak, and Hefrak is pretty cool. I don't know that I would build him, honestly. I have so many arena nukers. A copy of Armand's would be nice. Actually, I don't own Mishinaki. I don't know what I'm saying. Like, I own all these champions. Like, I've owned all of these champions on other accounts. I do not own Mishinaki on my main account. I would like Mishinaki. So he would probably be the biggest win for me. And then after him, probably a copy of Armand's and then Wallmaster. And as far as the epics are concerned, the epics are decent. You know, most of these are worth dupes. I wouldn't mind getting another Seeker here, because I think mine is currently +2. And I wouldn't mind the extra speed at +3 or whatever it is. No, it's speed at 2 and 4, isn't it? So if I could get him to +4, that'd be cool. Or Venom Mage. Give her an even better chance of being a great solo champion. Yeah, I mean, I use Ugo, I use Allure. I don't use most of the other ones. I really like Hatatsu and Miscreated Monster. And maybe if I got like a +4 Miscreated Monster, I'd start using him a lot more. That would be cool. That'd be fun. And I keep wanting to make Ishma thing. I want her to work so bad. She's got this poison on her A1. She's got an AoE weaken. And then she can increase the duration of debuffs. Feels like a cool clan boss damage dealer. I remember I had Deadwood Jedi on the channel. I was like, what do you think about Ishma? He's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I really want to use Ashman. He's like, don't. Like, come on, man. You're killing me. All right, let's see. Let me move my screen around here so I can get set up to read the chat and say hello to people. I'm feeling antisocial today because I'm under the weather. I don't know if you can tell in my voice. I've got a little bit of a throat thing and a cough. So, all right, here we go. Andre, hey, ex-ace, good to see you. Pavel Grabowski in the house. Patient Teacher 63. Hey, you missed me? I missed you. Thank you. Oh, patent teacher. Patent teacher. I was like, patient teacher. That's a very good kind of teacher to be patient. But a patent teacher is also a good thing. Alex, how you doing? Asher. And another Alex. We got Alex and Alex Carbo. Kate of the Dead, good evening. Good to see you, Kate. Always good to see you. Darth, hello. Objective Observer. Silver Bullet. Keckman. The Mytha is also helpful in doing 15 Iron Twins. Yeah. I'm not saying she isn't. I'm just saying if you look at my roster, I don't need her for that. Like, I don't need her for anything. And again, I didn't need her when I got her. I'm not saying I don't need her now. Like, I've literally never needed her. You know, so I use this, which does pretty good job. And then when this breaks down because of affinity, I use Demitha. Let me see. Where is it? I use this. I use this team here for actually, that's not even the team that I use. I don't know why that says that. Iron Twins Magic. I don't use that for. I use a different team. It might just be in there. You know, it might just be like, it might just be loaded up. I'm pretty sure I use Nair Gigante Archer for the slow. But maybe not. Because this would be the affinity to do it. So I don't know. But it's Mithrala, Helicath, maybe, Wixwell, like Newton, something. Something for a slow. Maybe that is legitimately the one that I've now discovered because Estrad has the slow. So that could be it. That makes sense. 4 force and a magic into magic affinity. Yeah, that makes sense. So maybe that is the team I use. I don't know. But don't get me wrong. Demitha is a great champion. I overspent for her, but I did it because it was a psychological thing for me. Suzanne Johansson, good to see you. Sauce, what's up, buddy? Mr. Meh, question for Hydra. In an Emic Naya team, could you use Madame Saris and leave out a block buff champion? You can. There's a risk to it. If you get 3%, it's problematic, right? The nice thing about a block buff champion is that there's a little bit of leeway. Like, especially if I have like a Wukong who can place the block buffs and strip buffs, you know, and then you get 2 things, or maybe it depends. I mean, you can always be 3%. So that doesn't really change anything. Yeah, so you could probably do it. I don't know if that's a full auto team, by the way. I don't run that team. So I doubt it's a full auto team because Naya tends to be in manual teams. So if you're manualing anyway, then you've got more leeway. Yeah, 20 pulls for the Magic Summon pool and got only Epics. Armand's is out of my reach. I'm sorry to hear that. You pulled Brogni. Brogni is good. Brogni is good. Is it worth building 2 Venom Mage? I probably would not. It's hard for me to think of a scenario where you would need a second Venom Mage because Venom Mage can be a solo champion. So maybe you could build one in like a solo build and then another one as like in a team comp more focused on damage and not as survivable, and that might be valuable. I don't know. I mean, maybe, for instance, if you wanted one for Amius, for the boss in Centranos, and you wanted that to not be your solo build, like maybe you needed to pile more accuracy on it or something, then maybe. But I would say that's an end game thing. I would not do that if you were in the mid game. Like, put your resources elsewhere. Treat crit rate like I did in WoW. I'm thinking I need help. Crit rate's extremely important. Yeah, you need to have 100% crit rate on most of anybody who's doing direct damage as their primary role. So for instance, I'll give you an example. Ragash is a nuker. And he's got over 100% crit rate. I'd rather land exactly on 100%, but he's got 104, so not a lot of wasted there. Here's an arena nuker, same thing, 104%. Ninja does both, right? He does both direct damage and debuff damage. And I just rebuilt him, and you can see he's at 98%, but I have this. This will get me the last 2% crit rate. That'll get me to 100. I just need to go get the oils. Now, sometimes you can have a direct damage dealer who doesn't need 100%. Like here, you can see I'm sitting at 75% with Gembo. He only needs 70% because he brings his own increased crit rate, so he gets 30% crit rate. So I can run him at 70% just fine. However, if you have a damage dealer who deals damage primarily through poisons or HP burns or some other means, then they don't need 100% crit rate. So for instance, Nishak Verminlord, he is a bomb champion, right? So he places bombs. He places bombs here. He places bombs here. And so what he needs is attack. Like he needs as high attack as possible. You can see I'm almost at 7,000 here. Close to 7,000 attack. He doesn't need crit rate or crit damage. If you can get it on him, that's fine. It's not like crit rate and crit damage doesn't also work. But his primary goal is to have the accuracy to land the bombs and then attack to make the bombs hit as hard as possible. Bomb damage is only scales off attack. That's it. If we look at my Artak, where's my Artak? He's an HP burner. He doesn't need crit rate or crit damage. He just needs, like Nishak, he needs accuracy, and speed is helpful. Now, you can build a champion like Artak with crit rate and crit damage. You can make him hit hard and land the HP burns. It's entirely possible, but I run him as a solo champion, so he just needs to be survivable. His resistance actually isn't enough right now. I recently converted him to a solo champion, and for whatever reason, forgot about the resistance. So he doesn't have the resist he needs. So he can't actually solo right now, which is. I hope my voice doesn't give out. It feels like my voice might give out. You pulled a 6-star soul for Ashma. We'll report back on how she is. Okay, I appreciate that. Hello, Colred. Hello, LFC. Mr. Colred, would you like to pull some void guaranteed shards and souls? I appreciate that, LFC, and you know what? On a different day, I probably would. But this is going to be a short stream, I think. Relatively short stream. I want to make sure I get to some takeovers. So, not this time around. But I appreciate the offer. Hey, Liv, how you doing? James Dark, you only have 14 Legos. I had 14 Legos at one point. We all have 14 Legos. Like, if we get to 14 Legos, we all have 14 at one point. 14 is not bad. That's a pretty good number. That means you're working the game. You're doing well. Bogdan, you got Corvus from one poll and have no idea what to do with him. Any advice? I love Corvus. There are several things that you can do with him. He is primarily a boss killer. Now, I'll say this. He's not a fast boss killer. He's not like a ninja or a newt. He's not like that. But he's a very good boss killer. You could certainly throw him in an unkillable clan boss team. You could actually, even better, use him in a killable clan boss team. So he brings a decreased attack on his A1. It's got a 60% chance of landing, so that increases your survivability. He has a double hitter. This is an AoE, by the way. And this is a buff extension. It also increases the duration of all enemy debuffs. This is a really nice. There are only 2 champions in the game with this skill where it's an increase and an increase. Everybody else has an increase and a decrease. So he has an increase of enemy debuffs duration and an increase of ally buffs duration. So you could certainly put him into a Wixwell comp or a Brogni comp for clan boss. So like an infinity comp. Or you could even put him in with like a classic killable ally protection kind of comp. His A3 is a poison. It hits AoEs twice, and each hit will place 2 poisons. So you can place 4 poisons plus a poison sensitivity if the target has 2 poisons. So typically you're going to land that poison sensitivity, which is really nice. So poison sensitivity plus a bunch of poisons. And then he also has this really nice passive, decreases the damage enemies under poison debuffs inflict up to 25%. So for each poison, he decreases the damage. So this really, if you have a Wixwell team, this guy is the perfect complement to a Wixwell team. He brings poisons. He's going to reduce that damage, let you get that shield built really quickly. Brings that decreased attack, extends the duration of the shield, all that stuff. Really, really good champion. Also great against like a lot of Doom Tower bosses, great against Dragon. Here's another thing that you can do is you can use him as part of a poison explosion team. So if you open with this A3, you're going to get 4 poisons out and a poison sensitivity out, and then you can hit him with your poison exploder. So you can pair him with like a Calvalax and an Ellen Arl or something like that and just wreck. He can be part of speedruns. So, typically you need a reset champion like a Kaimar or something, but you just place those poisons, blow them up, reset, do the next thing, the next wave. And because he's still a great boss killer, you're still getting a lot of that value there. So really good champion, fantastic for faction crypts, fantastic for Doom Tower bosses, great in Centranos. I use him a lot in Centranos. That's where I use him the most. He is part of my Wixwell clan boss team. Any suggestions for Eric's just now? I'm trying to build my Eric's into a solo Spider Hard 10. I'm trying, but it's a very difficult build to get. And so in the meantime, I'm just kind of running her as a damage dealer. You can see the accuracy is not that high. I don't run her for the stun. Speed is a little low, but she has decent crit damage here, 270. HP based champion. But yeah, so I think what you need, if I remember, it's been a while. I think you need a 6-piece. I think it might be a 6-piece Slayer. Maybe it's a 9-piece Slayer. I don't even remember. Maybe it's a 6-piece Slayer and like a 3-piece Merciless or something. There's some combination. Or maybe it's a 5 and a 4. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since I tried it, and I was like 2 items short. So I'll have to go back and look at the build. Any replacements for 2-man Ninja Godseeker team for 24-25? You can replace Ninja in that team with almost anybody you want. You just have to have the right speed. So if you want to have like a positive affinity champion, you can. If you have a 5 or 6 star Brimstone on somebody, there you go. Because Brimstone's going to do more damage than HP burns anyway. So, but the typical one is Walking Tomb Drain for that for 25. You think the solo piece is solo build is 9-piece Slayer? I think it could be, but I think there's another one. I think there's a 5-4 or something. I'm just trying to remember which one it is. And I don't remember. I mean, was it? What's Merciless at 4? So 30% chance to decrease a random skill's cooldown plus the crit damage and speed, maybe. Or it might even be supersonic where you get turn meter fill. No, that's not it. Slayer, you get turn meter fill, right? You get turn meter fill on the A. Yeah, so I think it's 4 pieces. It might be 4 pieces of Slayer, and then 5 pieces of no, I don't know. Must be 5 pieces of Slayer. Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about. But Eric's hits hard. Eric's definitely hits decently hard. She has a stun on her A2. It's not a 100% chance. Also an ally protection and a counterattack. This is an annoying skill that I wish wasn't in her kit. It does very little. She's not a great ally protector anyway, and the counterattack isn't really awesome. She does have an AoE, so when she counterattacks, she hits like this. So this is good for specifically Spider, right? Like, because when the Spiderlings hit, if she has the counterattack up, she uses the A1. And then if you have the Slayer bonus, where you get champions turn meter fill based on the AoEs, then that fills the turn meter really fast. So that's where the counterattack works. But the rest of the time, the counterattack is kind of lame. Maybe in Hydra. I don't know. Ninja or Oboro for Hydra Hard. If you can get the Oboro team running, that's kind of cool. I've often thought about building her for. There are a couple of different builds for her, which are really cool. She can solo Amius, which is awesome. So I kind of want to do that. But yeah, Ninja's all around awesome. You're not going to go wrong with that. And it's an easier build. So unless you can get that Oboro really clicking, I would say stick with your Ninja because you're going to want them everywhere. Okay. All right. So let me see. I just wanted to do a couple of arena battles. All right. So I'm going to go over what we do here. So it is Tuesday. This is a Takeover Tuesday. It's going up on 2:00. So we got to get the first Takeover going because I'm not going to do a long stream today. So for today's Takeovers, I'm not doing Hydra. And I'm not doing Gear Cleanse. Okay. So take those off the list. No Hydra, no Gear Cleanses today. Those take too long. And yeah, I'm not up for it today. So anything else goes. If you don't know, you have to be a member of the Discord community in order to qualify for a Takeover. So there's a link in the description of this live stream. Just click on that. You'll instantly be accepted into our Discord community. In the Discord, all you want to do, oh, that reminds me, I need to open Discord. All you want to do is scroll down the left-hand column until you see a section called the Coaching Corner. And in the Coaching Corner, there is a channel named the Wheel of Takeover. You want to go into the Wheel of Takeover. There's going to be a message. There is a message from my editor, whose name is Sun. And I got a bunch of messages. I haven't logged into Discord in like almost a week. Let me just get down here into the okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I know everybody's been reacting. I'm going to remove all the reactions from Sun's message. So now go ahead and react to Sun's message. You can react as many times as you want, but you're only going to be entered once. Once we have all the reactions, I'm going to spin the wheel. Whoever gets picked, you get the Takeover. You can get one Takeover every 90 days. And yeah. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a DM. I want you to DM me right back with your login information. So please have your email and password available. If you have two-factor authentication, remember that I'm going to be needing that as well. And then I'm going to give you a role so you can join me in the Coaching Voice channel. Now, you won't be able to speak, but you will be able to hear me in real time. There's a delay on the live stream, so this way we can kind of have a conversation a little bit more quickly. And you're just going to DM me what kind of takeover you want, what you're interested in. If you want champion rebuilds, you want an arena team, you want a dungeon team, you want a clan boss tweak, whatever it is. Let me know. Maybe Doom Tower help. Maybe Faction Crypt help. And we'll see what we can do for you. By the way, if you have absolutely no silver, which sometimes happens, it'll probably just turn into a coaching session as opposed to a real takeover where I actually do something. So we'll just talk about the theory of it and what you can do to improve. Also, if you don't want me to touch certain things on the account, let me know that. I'll leave those things alone. Could be resources, could be champions, whatever. All right, we got some reactions. It is 1:59. I'm going to give it one more minute, and then at 2 p.m., I am going to spin that wheel. And in that 1 minute, I'm hopefully going to do 2 more of these. How much is no silver? Some people have 300,000 silver. Some people come with like 3 million silver. Usually, if you've got, say, 3 or 4 or 5 million silver, I can usually do something. I can usually do something with just a few million silver because I'm a free-to-play player and I'm used to working cheap. That being said, I can't do a clan boss rebuild for 3 million silver, you know. So just be aware. Month 2, hoping for Seer team rebuild. Okay. I've rebuilt a few Seer teams recently on my own account. I don't have a reset champion. I have several Painkeepers and I have an Emic and I have a Renegade. I actually have 2 Renegades. So like I try to make do with that, but I don't have a Kaimar. I don't have a Yumiko. You know, those are the big ones. So if you're like me and you don't have the full resets, then you have to get creative a little bit. And sometimes that can take a while to figure out because you're like, oh, is it better to reset or is it better to bring other champions to like damage when Seer's cooldowns are down? You know, like that kind of thing. And what I've been finding recently is I do better avoiding resets. Like I use Seer to clear one wave and I use damage to clear the next wave or vice versa. And that seems to work a little bit better than trying to do the full cooldown reduction thing. Angelica's in the house. And Dinky. Hey, guys. And Caveman. And Burso. Good to see everybody. Hey, Crop's in the house. Sorry, Crop. Didn't see you, buddy. Got Sindragore here. Heaven. Good to see you. I think I got most people. Sorry if I didn't call you out today. Ethan. James Dark. All right. I am going to go ahead and spin this wheel. So just a reminder, no Hydra takeovers, no gear cleanses. I'm not doing either one of those today. Spinning that wheel. Yeah, I'm not feeling great. The baby got sick last week, and so did my wife. And I was able to avoid that for a while, I guess. And then now I got sick this week. So I don't know if it's the same thing. They're also still not kind of feeling great. So it's just hanging around. Buster B. Congrats. I see you are also on Jay Gig's Discord. Jay's awesome. I love Jay. He's the best. If you don't know Jay Giggs, he's a very funny guy. He has a particular sense of humor. I don't think everybody thinks he's funny. But if you think he's funny, you're going to think he's very funny. I don't know if we have Sun with us. I mean, he's around, but he works. So sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. Alex, all right. Don't forget to like the stream and support Cole and his editor, whose name is Sun. Yeah, but it's the other who's, right? Who's and who's is always tricky. But thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. Love to have those Cole Red Plays icons up there from our members. That's awesome. All right, so I have sent you a DM in Discord. Our winner is Buster B2388. So please get back to me as soon as you can with your login information. I only give it a few minutes, by the way. So if you don't respond in a few minutes, I just spin the wheel again. We've got 50 people who are hoping for a takeover. So I'm not going to make them just stare at my face while we do nothing. You have to stare at my face while we're doing something, not stare at my face while we're doing. I don't want to start one of these because this is like a 6-minute run. Smash that like button. Come on, Buster B. Some people will react to the wheel because they assume that like it takes a while and then they walk away to go do something. And then it's like they're gone for 10 minutes and they miss their chance at a takeover. You're wondering if Sun is here somewhere. You're saying he's lurking? Is that what you're saying? That he's just being helpful in the corner in the dark? just ready to troll at a minute's notice. Okay, Buster, you're looking for my message. I sent you a DM. So on your Discord, it should just be at the top of the Discord. There's a section for DM. Like literally the Discord icon. That's where you click. So, you have the full column of all the Discord servers you're part of. At the very top, there is a Discord symbol, and there should be a little red dot on it. And you click on that, and that'll show you your list of direct messages. And I am one of those direct messages. Should be the top one. There you go. All right, so Buster is in the house. I'm going to put up a poll. We used to put up polls every stream, and then I got out of the habit for some reason. What's this guy's name? Scored the half spawn. Let's see who's going for him. I am skipping this one. I didn't actually intend to skip him. I think he's worth going for. Maybe. I think there's a chance he could be a very good Spider hard mode champion. And that would be worth going for. If you could just plug him in and clear Spider 10 hard mode in 30 seconds, that's a champion worth getting on your roster. And he might be that. But that's his primary usage, I think. I think he's also gonna be good in Hydra, but not awesome in Hydra. Let's see. All right. I need to remove some accounts here. Sorry. Apparently, I didn't remove accounts after my last week of takeovers. Oh, and this is a good time to mention, I am doing paid takeovers. So I have paid takeover services. If you are interested in a paid takeover service, just go ahead and DM me in Discord, and I will send you back the pricing and scheduling information. But I've been doing them for the past month. They've been fun. I think we've made some good progress for some people. Some people have like already done multiple takeovers, come back. Because I do coaching. So if you're interested, like I like coaching. If you're interested in sort of a classic takeover where you just hand me your account and then I give it back to you in a better state, like we can do that too. You know, you can say, oh, I want a clan boss team, or I want, you know, a gold 5 arena team or something. I could just do that. Or we can kind of sit in a private live stream in Discord, chat, and go through your account and work on things together. And again, you can still there say, you know, I need a Hydra team, or I need a, you know, 1 key Ultra Nightmare or whatever, and we can make progress towards those goals. But that way you have an idea of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because it's the tutor in me, right? The teacher in me. The idea is, if you're good at teaching, you eventually make yourself irrelevant. Like, that's my goal. My goal is not to have somebody who needs a takeover once a month for the next year and a half. My goal is to, you know, improve your account so that every takeover teaches you something in addition to improving your account. But it's really up to you. Like, if you're not interested in that, you're like, nah, dude, I'm not here for learning. I'm not here for school. Like, I just want you to fix this Wixwell team because I can't get it to work and it's driving me nuts. Please fix it and I'll hand you money. I can do that. I can do that. And my prices are reasonable, at least compared to what I've seen. So, I mean, it's not nothing. I'm not giving away takeovers. No, I am giving away takeovers today. I'm giving away takeovers. But if you want a free takeover, you need it on a Tuesday. Okay. Sorry, Buster. Got a little distracted there. I was plugging my business. Okay, we are into Buster's account. So just let me know what kind of account it is, or what kind of takeover it is that you want. Oh, also I have to give you the role. Sorry. Let me do that for you right now. Okay, so you can now join me in the voice channel if you'd like, and that way you can hear me in real time. You can send me a DM on what kind of takeover you would like. We've got some silver here. We've got almost 80 million. We are a level 100 account. Level 100 account. Through all of the login champions, so like 2.5 years here or something like that to get through all the login champions. But this is an advanced account. I expect to see a fleshed out roster. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 times 9 is 207, right? Yeah, 207 plus 7. So 214 level 60s. Got 3 Armigers. Got 3 Cold Hearts here too. So this is a fleshed out roster. This is a fleshed out roster. So tell me what you're looking for, Buster. Hard Fire Knight or Phantom Shogun? Okay. Do you have a preference? Well, actually, let's take a look at both. We'll take a look at both because we can certainly do that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the Hard Fire Knight. All right, you're on stage 5. Let's see what you've got. Okay. So this is a very different team than I would run. Now, I know that you can run what amounts to basically kind of like trying to one-shot it with Newt. And depending on the gear you have on Newt, you might be able to do that. But I don't have that gear. I also don't have, like you, I don't have an advanced soul. So like a 5-star soul, a 6-star soul would be helpful. I really want a 4-star soul. I only have a 2-star soul. So you're running 277 crit damage, about 4,300 defense. So like decent, right? Good. You got the accuracy at 408. So this is a good build. I'm not saying it's not, but this isn't gonna work with that one shot kind of mentality. You need 6K defense and 330 crit damage and 5-star soul and all that stuff. So the thing about hard mode Fire Knight is generally you build it around freeze champions. You need speed and freeze. That's basically what you need. And you need freezes on your A1, preferably with an ally attack. Now you have your Lady Mikage, so you have your ally attack. So let's go ahead and just look for freezes, and let's see who you've got. Okay. All right, you have 2 Neldors down here, and Neldor can be really valuable. So let's just go look at your champions. Let's do it this way. All right, so I don't know about Crypt King Grawl because I've never pulled him, but I think he's got a AoE freeze, right? So the AoE freeze is less valuable. You need multi-hitters. So Newt is in, right? Newt is in, and probably Yakarl is going to be in. He's not booked, but he has 2 potential freezes on his A1. He's also got a decreased speed and a freeze on his A2, and then he's got the AoE freeze, which is nice for the waves. So he can be really valuable for this. Shiramani is nice. She does have a triple hitter on her A1. It can only freeze once, though, so this isn't actually going to reduce turn meter multiple times. May not matter. It's a triple hitter. It's a freeze. She's got an AoE freeze as well. So again, control on the waves. You've got Blizzard the Howler. This is a triple A1, and each hit can freeze. He's also got an AoE freeze. So right here, you've got 3 AoE freezes, all with triple hitters on the A1, except for Yakarl, who's a double. And you've got a slow, and then you've got Newt. So you could run these 4 champions with Lady Mikage. The thing is, here you don't have speed, so I would probably ditch the Shiramani. You probably don't need it. You probably don't need all of that freeze. This is where the Neldor can really help because he has an AoE decreased speed, which is nice, and a triple hit on his A1 that each hit has a chance of freezing. However, typically you need an increased speed champion and an aura. You need to go really fast because the speeds are high. So let's go ahead and reset this and see who your engines are. So first of all, let's look for that. You've got a Razzlevarg who most people use as their lead. So Razzlevarg is very good. You've got Lysandra, who you could certainly use. Elva's not bad, but I would rather use Razzlevarg. He does have the triple hitter on the A1. And you've got Zinogre, who has got a triple hit with a weaken on the A1. She's also got a quad hit on her A2, increased speed. The thing is, I think Razzlevarg is better for the waves. Plus, he's got 2 AoEs, whereas Zinogre has no AoEs. So she's very good on the boss. And she does bring that weaken. I'm sorry, Crop, what were you saying? 214? Oh, that's how many 6-star champions there were? Yeah, that's a lot. Oh. You mean if I do this, and then there's just this number up here. You're right. There is that number up there. I don't have to count them. I always count them. I don't know why. I don't know if I ever really thought about that number. You're right. I didn't have to do the math. I like doing the math. I enjoy doing arithmetic. Okay. You also have a Cardiel, so you have that as an option for an ally attacker. You could do a double ally attack. Let's see how your champions are built. So who's fast? 295 on the Lady Mikage is certainly fast enough. Now, Cardiel is nice because he has the aura. 258 is maybe just enough. Maybe just enough. Let's see about our Newt. Where's our Newt? All right, so 168 is not fast enough. Is he in your clan boss? Is he speed tuned for your clan boss? Is that why he's so slow? Buster? I can cut this. Sorry, what was the account name again? How the God. Okay. He's in some teams, but I don't know why he's running that slow. It doesn't look like he's in your clan boss team. Looks like you have a Demitha unkillable. Okay. All right, so so here's the thing. I would probably rebuild Newt. I like to run my damage dealers, like my PvE damage dealers, at endgame where you are. Typically between like 220 on the low end and 250 on the high end. Somewhere in there, typically. You can run them a little bit faster sometimes, but you're trading away too much damage. You can get away with like a 205 or 215. Like you can, depending on the team comp that you build them in. This is very slow. So like he wouldn't be doing damage off of his own ability. He would only be getting like his ally attacking. He's not going to get a turn against the Fire Knight. So the Fire Knight runs, I think, at 255 or something like that. Let me go look. So I always do this. Come to hellhades.com, raid stages tool, dungeons, Fire Knight, hard 10. Don't rebuild unless you're rebuilding for 10, right? So the speed is 250. And the speed on the waves is 100, 101, 107. 107. So 215 is sort of the minimum, right? You want to double those waves. So 250. Now, again, if you have a speed aura like a Razzlevarg, right, who's giving you that speed aura, then you don't need the full 250. You're going to get a speed boost, but you may not get the speed boost on the boss. Like that may not be what Razzlevarg is doing. So you want a speed where the aura hopefully, gets you there, or you have turn meter fill, and you can do that. So if we're kind of theory crafting the team, we would do something like this for hard mode Fire Knight. Let's go ahead and we have a free spot. We don't have a free spot. Is there a team here I can kill or replace? He's for your clan boss force team. He is on that. Okay. Is there a team here I can replace that I can pull out? It looks like an Iron Twins team. It's okay. We don't have to. We'll do this. We'll just do it here. So what we'd be looking for is probably want Razzlevarg in the lead. He's going to give you that aura and the increased speed buff. He doesn't give you turn meter fill. Right? We're going to want Lady Mikage or Cardiel for the ally attack, either one. It doesn't matter for Newt, right? Because Newt doesn't... They both bring increased crit damage. She brings increased attack, whereas Cardiel brings increased crit rate. But Newt doesn't do damage based on attack. So, but if you're bringing somebody else, you know, who does do damage on attack, maybe she's a little bit better. Hard to say. And then now we want, you know, our freeze champions. So we'll probably bring in Carl. Yep. Am I spelling it Carl wrong? Oh, he's just in the, okay. And then, bring in Blizz. And now in this last spot here, you have some flexibility. You could bring in more wave killing damage. You certainly could. You've got 2 AoE freezers here. You don't necessarily need both, but you need their A1s, right? You want a multi-hitter on the A1, so you don't want to give away that, but you could bring in somebody who does just good all-around damage. Oh, no, what am I talking about? We have to bring in Newt. I'm sorry, I thought we had an extra spot. We have to bring in Newt. Okay, so now we have to bring in Newt. I forgot we brought in Razzlevarg. So on my team, it's different. On my team, I don't bring in Mikage. I have Cardiel, and he's in the lead, so I don't have Razzlevarg. So I have an extra spot. You don't have an extra spot. Okay, so this would be the team. And basically, what's going to happen is you've got potentially, depends what you do with Lady Mikage. But you do have 3 champions who can crowd control the wave because she has an AoE stun. You could also just use her ally attack. You could just use her regular AoE. You could use her AoE weaken if you wanted. You also have an AoE weaken from Newt. So when you put it into the AI, you're going to want to watch the fights and tweak it. Like you don't, every fight is going to be a little bit different. You may even need to manual your way up. And then when you get to the boss, what you're going to want to do is you always want to have, Newt in the back. Okay? Because if you break the shield, he's got the best chance of decreasing the turn meter on his A1. So let's just double check that. So it has a 100% chance of placing a freeze. So he's got the best chance because your Carl is like a 60% chance or something, and Blizzard is like a 60% chance on their hits, whereas Newt is got a 100% chance. So you want him all the way at the back because when an ally attack goes off, it goes off from front to back, right? So it's literally the positions that you put them in. So it'll be Razzlevarg, then Lady Mikage, then you Carl, then Blizzard, and then Newt. So if the shield is broken before he lands his last hit, he will get turn meter decrease on the ally attack. And that can be critical. And then you've got everybody else's turns. Remember that your Newt isn't going fast enough to get a turn. Even with the, with the Razzlevarg here and the increased speed, you're probably not going to get a turn until you can get Newt to like 220 speed plus. Maybe, we know that he'll get a turn at 232. Right? He would go before the boss at 232. But with the increased speed buff, you might be able to run him at like 225 or 220 or maybe even 215. I don't know. If you land the turn meter decrease, then you're good, right? But again, it depends on the speeds. So your ally attacker, I think, is your fastest champion. And this is going to be, let's see, this is going to be 3. I think she's got a double hitter, right, on her A1? No, a single hitter. She gets that ally attack from Shadowkin, but we're not running a Shadowkin. So 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to get 12 hits, I think. He's a triple. So you're going to get 12 hits, which means you're not going to break the shield because I think it goes up to, I don't know, it's like 15 or 18 or something. It's really high at stage 10. Yeah, I don't remember exactly how many it is, but it's a lot. It's more than that. So what you can do in a situation like this is you could potentially, let's say, run Razzlevarg faster than Lady Mikage. Right? And then what would happen is you'd like get his triple hit on his A1 and then Lady Mikage would go. But that means you don't have the increased speed. You know what I'm saying? So is his increased speed his double hitter or not? I forget. He has one of these hits twice, right? Yeah, the increased speed is only a single hit, so you're not going to use that. You're going to use the triple hit on the A1. So this kind of team can work really well, and with the right stats, this will go all the way through stage 10. I have a team similar to this. I am stuck on stage 7. I've been stuck on stage 7 for like 6 months. I haven't rebuilt the team. I haven't tweaked it in a while. But there is a point at which you're like, oh, I've run out of speed, or I have to tweak the AI, or I have to like really focus on this for like getting it down. Newt is definitely the champion that's going to be the fastest on the boss, but this isn't necessarily the fastest way to take care of the waves. So if you wanted to bring in, more damage on the waves, you can. I know that people do that sometimes. Zinogre is definitely a champion that people run because of all of her multi-hits. So you have some options, but I think this is a good place to start. This is where I would start, and I know Newt is in a clan boss team. Think about getting him out of that clan boss team. This build right now is less valuable for Newt than simply because of the speed. He is too slow to be very good in most PvE content. I'm sure he's awesome in clan boss. I'm sure he's a god in clan boss, but you may not need him there. You may be able to get by with a different force affinity damage dealer. So if I were just going to look, Fane might do the job. She might do the job. She's going to bring a weaken and decreased defense. You've got Farrakhan the Fat for an ally attack. You could use him. He brings an HP burn. You've got Annex, who's a good boss killer. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a legendary that you're using. You only need to get to 71 million or whatever, 72 million, right? So it's like, if you're currently doing 100 million with Newt or 120 million with Newt, you could back off of that, put in Morag Bronzelock, like put in somebody else for your force affinity damage dealer and do just fine. And then you don't have to sacrifice a legendary to a 160 speed build, right? You can sacrifice an epic who you don't need to use in other places. Fane is perfect for that, or Annex is perfect for that, because you're not really going to use them in other places too much. Faction crypts, maybe a secret room, and that's it. Centranos every once in a while. But I would certainly consider getting Newt into a faster build. And that speed's going to come from substats. So you're going to need, substat speeds on your banner, on your chest plate, on your shield, on your helmet, on your weapon. Like, those are 6 pieces that don't have speed as a substat. So if you're thinking about 6, let's say with an average roll of 2, so maybe 15 speed, 1, call it 1. Call it an average of 11 speed. That's 5 pieces. That's 55 speed. That's 55 speed alone. You're talking about, 220 something. You could get to 220 something. That's without even glyphing. It's like, so if you're averaging 9 speed or 10 speed on those pieces, all you really need is one if you get an accuracy banner with like 22 speed, like just think of how different that is. And now you're going to be running at the speeds you need, not only for Fire Knight hard mode, but for a lot of places. And you're not going to be giving up much. Do you know what I mean? Like, you will have to, like, here you've got a double resist roll, here you've got a resist and an HP roll. Here you've got a defense roll. Here you've got resistance. Like, yeah, you want to land the crit damage. You need the crit rate. So you can't get rid of those. And the accuracy is important, right? Because that's the other thing with this is you do need the accuracy. So we're still on this page. You can see right here. Right. So this is the number that you need. You need 345 accuracy. So this is the resistance 320, and this is the accuracy you need to overcome it. So you need 345 accuracy. And you are currently running, where's that button? 408. So you do have a little bit of accuracy you can give away, If you could get the accuracy that you need out of a Savage set or an Instinct set or something like that, that would be great. If not, Perception is fine. Perception is really good, because it gives you that speed and accuracy, both of which you need, but it's not giving you any additional damage, really. So I would think about a Newt rebuild. I'm not going to do it here today. You certainly have the silver for it, but I'm not going to do it here today because he's in your clan boss team. He's in the speed tune. So I want you to think about the replacement before you do that. But you could potentially do that pretty easily. All right, so now let's go look at Shogun. Hopefully that gives you some ideas about where to go. All right, I got to see some champions. So the easiest way to do this is with 2 cleansers and a block debuff. And you almost don't even have to speed tune. You may have to tweak it a little bit, but this is by far the easiest way to do it, is to find a block debuffs champion or 2. Cardiel is perfect. Elva's really good too. She's at 259. He's at 258. So they're both good. Oh yeah, you are welcome. You are welcome. He seems tanky enough. He's a little tankier. A little bit less HP, but more defense. But these 2 champions could potentially do it. You have Mithrala, who could be great. You have Pythion, who is awesome, but he doesn't look built. You do have Duchess, who is fantastic as well, but maybe more than you need. We can mess around. So those are our 3 champions, I think. And maybe Mithrala. And now we need damage dealers. So let's see, who are our relatively hard-hitting, fast damage dealers? Oh, you also have Marishka. She's got a cleanse, right? But it's not okay. It really almost doesn't matter who we bring. I just want to make sure they're built. You run your damage dealers on the slow side. And I know some of these champions aren't booked, so it's like you have a ton of champions, and you got to find the ones that are booked and relatively fast. We're gonna use Sissia because we're running Cardiel, so why not? That'll be 1 damage dealer. He's not running crit rate, but she'll be HP. We have somebody who's got. Okay, we've got a 5-star Brimstone there, so that's going to get most of the work done. So we'll run Lady Mikage. She have the accuracy? She has the accuracy. Actually, you don't need accuracy for 6-star, right? So it doesn't even matter. I don't have any 6-star Brimstone. Yeah, I don't think you need accuracy for this, right? Maybe we'll just run 2 Brimstone champions. He's going to have the crit damage. We don't mind if the high crit damage champion runs slow. So the Phantom Shogun is going to put that enfeeble on the champion with the highest crit damage. And so if you run him slow, he actually takes fewer turns, and it's like, that's better anyway. About Newt. What's Newt? Newt's running slow. What's his crit damage? 277. Can we run him and... No, he's going to be higher. So if we run Newt, we need Newt to be, which is weird, to run him as the enfeeble target. Because he's got a triple hit. So you'd rather it be a solo hit. Oops, let me see what chat's saying. Once he has the gear, he has a double ally attack and reset team. Mikage, Cardiel, Kaimar, Newt, and Yakarl. Yeah, you're right. For Fire Knight, that could work too. Thanks, David. I mean, honestly, one of the challenges of doing these live stream takeovers is that there are considerations, like Darren just said there, you know, that you fly past. Like, you're like, okay, there are 50 different teams I could build here, but I need to sell on one that works. So it's not always the best one, but it is one that should work. Let's see. Do we have a I think we can land a slow in this fight. Do we have somebody who would be a good slow champion? This would give us a speed buff as well, right? Decrease speed. Poisons don't really do much. I don't even remember about the decreased turn meter. Can we decrease his turn meter? I don't think it matters. I think we can bring anybody. I think we're going to be fine. All right, so and again, I don't have a reset champion, so it may be that, you know, like a Kaimar in here might even be better. But what we're going to do is this for now, I think. We're going to... do we need Mithrala for this? Mithrala is nice because of the strengthen. But we probably don't need... What I would like... What I would like is somebody who brings... Oh, whatever. Let's do that. Yeah, how's Ninja set up? Oh, he's not built. I would really like somebody who brings turn meter fill. At 184. He's also speed tuned for Clan Boss, I know. Deacon's not built. Apothecary is not built. No Haikatoon. Let's see. I mean, Lady Kimmy could do that. Lady Kimmy. See if we can get lucky on some speed rolls. Be nice. 5-star gauntlets. I'm like, why not? We need accuracy. Now speed. We need speed now. No. I'll still take it over that. Probably take this instead. This is 5-star. She's running at 238, which is a little bit slow for Lady Kimmy. I'd prefer to run her at like 280, 300, but that's okay. She's got the accuracy. Mostly. It's got most of the accuracy. Let's see what we... That's one speed. If we get another speed here, that would be... Yep, there we go. We can enchant. No, we're not going to enchant. But that'll give us 13 more speed. Keep that accuracy. All right, that's better. 251. Accuracy is sort of enough, but Lady Kimmy doesn't do a lot of turn meter fill, but she gives us another speed boost. And she gives us a slow. So let's go ahead and try this out. Now, we're going to manual the first couple of times just to see how it works. Or we'll sort of like half. All right, so we know that, let me pull myself out of the way here. Let me shrink myself. Okay. So we know that Rotos is going to take the Enfeeble. What we're trying to do is avoid weak hitting. We know that Lady Mikage is going to weak hit occasionally, right? She's going to get some weak hits. So let's just open with our ally attack. I want to see about the turn meter decrease. I forget about the turn meter decrease. Okay. And then what we're going to do is... Actually, I might do... I don't know if we're fast enough to do this. We're going to try doing it. Because he's not at full speed yet. Okay. Get the increased speed on. I don't know why that didn't count as a weak hit. He has the Enfeeble on him. Let's get the debuffs out there. Okay. So now we cleanse. We have the block debuffs. And so we only have the one champion. So the slows do work, but it looks like turn meter decrease doesn't. I always forget which one works and which one doesn't. Maybe we can get a decreased defense out there. And so you can see now we're starting to stack up a little bit. We got 7 stacks up there. But the other thing is when you bring champions that have a lot of ascensions, right? They decrease those stacks. So that's probably what happened with Rotos. He's got 6 stars. So even though he's weak hitting, he's also removing stacks, right? And he's only hitting once. And so he's going to always remove the stacks that he's putting up, which is key. If we can keep these stacks under like 20, it's going to be a piece of cake. There's Newt. Let's just run it full auto. We should be fine. I was going to run Elva, right? But it may be that we only need Cardiel. We'll have to see. So if we have to run Elva instead of Lady Kimmy, we will, which will lose us the decreased speed and the turn meter fill, but we'll still get a speed buff. Okay, so now we're in a little bit of a bind here because we're stacking. This is where the second cleanser would help us. We're up to 30 stacks. Could be dangerous. We're up to 46 stacks. And yeah, all right. So that's where the second cleanser helps us. Also the speed tuning, like if you speed tune. So we're going to just pull out Lady Kimmy here, and we're going to pop it in Elva. And that should be enough. I just want to see the Elva. She's at 259, and she's built. So she should be good. We'll just pop it in Elva. Now, one of the things that we might want to do is put this into the AI so that they don't waste their cleanses at the same time. Okay, so let's do our ally attack. Yeah, we're not gonna open with a cleanse. Do the other ally attack. And we could save those ally attacks for when the weekend's out there too. It's like there's a lot of things you could do, but we're not even at the last, we're not at the last stage here. I want to get a decreased defense out there, but let's get the weekend out there at least. The decreased attack helps too. Now we're going to do the cleanse and the increased speed. Yeah, we might have to have one of the cleansers open with the cleanse and then just alternate them. There's the brimstone. Still not landing the decreased defense. Second cleanse. So all I'm really trying to do is just get to stage 25, and then we can worry about speed tuning and AI and stuff. Elba also brings us a reviver in case Rotos dies, which he shouldn't. We do have the revive on death as well from Cardiel. See, this is where having that reset champion could potentially help. But then you lose something. You would probably lose Lady Mikage to bring in Kaimar. That's probably what you would do. And that would allow you to reset everybody's like everything. And you would try to basically two-shot the boss. And again, if Newt were running faster, it'd be easier, right? We'd come around to his stuff more frequently. So you can't block the debuff on the crit target. Like the crit damage target will always get an unremovable, uncleansable, enfeeble. But the others, everybody else gets basically a debuff spread version. And theirs are cleansable and blockable and removable and all that. So that's where the block debuffs comes in. So you can see like right there, you know, you didn't get any enfeebles on everybody else. Now, as you move forward through the various difficulty levels or stages, you know, like you obviously the affinity changes, and that could impact how you wanted to run the team. Oh, he does have the buff removal. Where is that? Huh, that was weird. All right, there's the cleanse. So you can set this up. There are like known speeds. I don't know them off the top of my head, but there are known speeds for cleansers. You run a fast cleanser and a slow cleanser, and basically you can do anything you want because they will always cleanse at the right moment. They'll alternate cleanses. I think you need 2 of them on a 3-turn cooldown. You don't need the block debuffs. The block debuffs is just to avoid the speed tune. It makes it easier. Let's get some energy. Click your red dot here. See if there's a little bit of energy. There's no energy. Energy here? No energy. No energy. Okay. Well, you're on top of doing all of your stuff, which is good. But we don't have the energy to finish, which is not so good. You only have 218 gems. So what I would say is, you know, this, you can see what we were doing here. You want me to? Okay. I can use gems for him. All right, so same thing here. Now, you know, in this particular case, the boss switches affinity, you know. Now I do think that Mithrala is an excellent champion for this. So if you have Mithrala, and she's running fast and accurate, you can absolutely use her in this. So you don't necessarily need 2 block debuffs champions. So we can run Mithrala here. That way we avoid a weak affinity champion, you know, in Elva. And we can try this, and you'll see, you know, her cleanse is on a 3-turn cooldown. Plus she has an increased attack and increased defense. Plus she has the poisons. Plus she has the shield and the strengthen. And the increased defense. All that. So she's going to make you much more survivable. But we lose the revive if we swap out the Elva. We could swap out the Cardiel, but right now he's giving us the speed aura. So we're going to hold on to him. All right. So now she can go ahead and cleanse us. For that increased defense and increased attack. I honestly don't know anything about Rotos. I've never built one, so I just have him here basically because he's 6 stars and he's got high crit damage. You could potentially get a much better damage dealer in here than Rotos. I have no idea. Like, he's just a target. He's not here for anything other than to absorb the enfeeble. Potentially, that doesn't have to be a damage dealer, by the way. The person who absorbs the enfeeble, like, you can put crit damage on somebody without crit rate, you know, just like put a lot of crit damage on somebody. It could be a cleanser. It could be your Elva. Like, it doesn't have to be a damage dealer. I'm just doing this because this is who you have built currently. But it does feel like a Kaimar team would be faster. So what we might do is pull out this Lady Mikage and see if we can build a faster team when we get to final stage. See, so that did actually remove removes all buffs from all enemies except the initial target. Okay. So that's just something to be aware of. So you would, this Scourge Sword would be where we would want to use Mithralis Cleanse. So we actually had it timed up pretty well. Like use hers before and then Cardiel's after. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay. So let's get to 25. So let's go ahead and I want to check on the Kaimar, see how fast he is. The Lady Mikage is bringing that 5-star Brimstone, but I think we have a 6-star Brimstone here anyway, right? So, I mean, he can weak hit. If he weak hits, he won't place the Brimstone. So that's the issue there. Where's Kaimar? There's Kaimar. How fast is he running? 246. That's fine. It's got intimidating presence, which will help our Cardiel lead a little bit. Yeah, so we have a lot of options, but I think what I'm going to do here is let's bring the Elva back. Newt, unfortunately, is weak affinity, but that's just the way it's going to be. He's still our hardest hitting champion. Unfortunately, he's running slow, but so let's go ahead and do actually Kaimar. I don't think we need Elva. What we want is maybe for our force damage. I know, I just want to get more damage. She doesn't have mastery. And she doesn't always land her decreased defense because there's only one target. You need 2 targets. What I was thinking about was bringing in somebody who's got a decreased defense and a weaken. I mean, Lydia's not a bad option. She won't weak hit. And she gives us an increased speed and strengthen, which is nice. So we don't take as much damage. And if we're getting ready, maybe we'll do that. I mean, Jintoro would also be nice. We can try them both. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be fine. So let's go ahead and bring Lydia and Kaimar. Let's just see. I mean, I would prefer to have a second. I'd prefer to have a second damage dealer, but we do something like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to open with the ally attack. Unfortunately, he's the fastest, so we don't have the weaken and all that stuff out there. So we can't actually reset anything. We'll do this. The weaken and decrease defense. I don't know which of his hits is the best hit. Now we do the nuke. Okay, so we have to open. No, we'll see what happens. We might be able to. You can see we're at 39 stacks. Yeah, okay. Part of it is the speed, but part of it is just the opening. We got so many stacks there. See, Newt is weak affinity, which is an issue. I mean, Mikage helps remove stacks. You know, unfortunately, we don't have enough. We don't really have enough blessings on these champions. Typically, like you want two stars as a minimum. You can get away with like 1 or 2 champions at 1 star, but typically you want 2 stars as a minimum. 3 or 4 is better because then you start removing more stacks than you place when you weak hit. Especially on a multi-hitter like Newt, like 1 star is really iffy. But we could try this. We could try this. And again, he's weak affinity, so he's naturally going to weak hit sometimes, which can put us in sort of a bad way. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to open with the block debuffs. No, because he's gonna remove it. Damn it. Well, it doesn't. Because we need that revive on death. We have so many stacks right now. Don't really want to reset the. Yeah. All right, we got to rethink this. We got to rethink this because we need more ascensions or awakening, or whatever they're called. All right, we got a six-star Venom Mage who might work. Unfortunately, our attack's not built right. Really unfortunate, because he would potentially do pretty good. Now we got Sissy. Who's the crit damage? Who would pull the... If Cardiel... Well, you don't want Cardiel, unfortunately. What we'd actually want is... Maybe Mithrala? No. Marishka is a cleanser. He's got the speed aura. She doesn't have the block debuffs. I am tempted to do this. And forget about the reset champion. I am tempted to do... If I can find them all. What is going on? Oh, defense. That's what I meant. Oh, look at what we got that. We got a 6-star there. That would be nice. He's probably not built. No. Not far. And he's got a brimstone. All right. How many did Elva have any? Got 1-star. And I think Mithrala had the same, right? But we don't have a reviver now. Let's see about this. It won't be fast, but potentially. All right, so Cardiel is in fact pulling. He's pulling the attack. So, I mean, we should be able to manage the stacks pretty well here. You need that decrease attack. Cleanse. It's not the damage that's the issue with Newt. It's the fact that he has 1 star and he's naturally weak affinity. So he's going to stack up these shade counters. And so all I'm looking for is champions that have decent soul stars on them, you know, awakenings, or they're awakenings, right? Yeah. And I'm like, why not? If we bring in Sissia because of cardio, why not bring in Artak because of Sissia? And you have 2 HP burn activators. We have the Brimstone. I think we have a 5-star Brimstone here and a 6-star Brimstone. We got the 2 cleansers. We've got the defenses from Mithrala, who should keep us alive so that we don't need the revive on death. Now, if Cardiel dies, it'll get sticky quickly. So that we just need to make sure that we kill the boss before that happens. You can see we're keeping the counter, like the counter is fine, right? We're at 0 here. And we let Brimstone do the work. It's okay. All right, so we got a 5-star Brimstone there. So maybe the Artak is what we. I mean, I like his decrease attack. Sissy is bringing the weaken. But maybe the weaken isn't all that necessary. And she's bringing some damage, but she's not bringing a lot. She's not even. Yeah, so why don't we just do this? Why don't we just pull out this Sissia? She's only 2 stars anyway. Let's go ahead and put in that Elva. That'll bring that speed boost back. Where'd that Elva go? And let's just run this. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can full auto it. See you, Darren. Have a good night. So there's the chance this might end up being like a 2-minute run, maybe a 2.5-minute run. And if it's full auto and you don't have to rebuild anybody or change anybody, I'd call that a win. You know, this is not the most efficient way to do Phantom Shogun. You can clear stage 25 in like 30, 40 seconds with the champions that you have. But you need to speed tune them, build around the ones, you know, that are in the right position. Probably need to bring Newt in. You could certainly bring in some epics. I mean, you have a decent Whisper who might work. The thing about Whisper is her extra turn mechanics cause her to outrun buffs, so she might die. You know, and if you have a, let's call it a 2.5 minute. If we have a 2.5 minute clear, where you don't have to rearrange anything, and it's 100%, or 99%, I would take that. There's that other cleanse. We're at 12 stacks. As long as we don't get too high on the stacks. By the way, sometimes I see like videos on Phantom Shogun where it's like, you need to keep the stacks at 0. You really don't. You really don't, especially with somebody like Mithrala and some tanky champions. Like anything under 35 or so tends to be good, as long as you don't hit 40. You hit 40, you're in trouble. And if you hit 30, you might be in trouble. But if you keep it in the teens or below, you should be able to run through. Yeah, it's not even going to be 2.5 minutes. It's going to be about 2:15. Let's see. Just need him to go, and then he died. Yeah, 2:12. All right, so 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Looked relatively safe. I'm not saying it's 100%. I don't know that it is, right? Because we're not speed tuned. I don't know what the masteries are on everybody, but this feels reasonable. If you could get some more awakenings in here, some more stars on the souls, that would be helpful. If you could run, if you could get Cardiel to 2 stars or 3 stars, Cardiel is going to be the one who attacks the most frequently. And so he's never going to weak hit naturally unless he has the enfeeble on him, which he does in this particular case. So the reason he's attacking the most frequently is because he has a chance to join every ally's attack, right? So 30% of the time, I think it is 30% of the time he joins an ally attack. So maybe is it 15%? 30%. I think I should know. This is like my favorite champion. 15% chance, but it buffs. Yeah, 30% chance. It's naturally 15%, but it buffs to 30%. So he has a 30% chance of joining every attack. So if you have more stars on him, obviously that's going to help. It doesn't seem like you're using him for a ton of stuff though. So it's like maybe that's just a bridge too far to get souls on a champion that you don't use a lot. But 2 minutes and 12 seconds. I'll take it. Let's run it one more time. Let's run it one more time. Make sure. Yeah, Buster, I think that's a good call. Get Newt out of Clan Boss. Free him up, build him faster. Like I said, anywhere between 220 and 250 is probably where I would park him. You can get away with a little bit of slower, but you don't seem to run a lot of turn meter engines on your team. I mean, you have Arbiter and you do have Seeker, but your Seeker's running slow for a Clan Boss team, so he's not really helpful in a lot of other places. So you have some increased speed champions. You have Lydia, you have Elva, you have Razelvarg. Those are sort of semi-engines, right? They kind of, they're half supports in that sense. Cardiel, again, also with that speed aura can be helpful. But like, I love having access to turn meter fillers, some good turn meter fillers. Really, really good one is Astrid, if you ever pull her or, get her. There's Deacon. You could always run a Seeker faster. You do have Lydia. Lydia is a good one. You could actually use Lydia as an engine. I do think you have, no, I'm sorry, not Lydia. Lysandra. I think you have Lysandra. I could have used Lysandra. So she might be the, that champion that can fill that role for you. But it looks like, as long as we keep these stacks manageable, this team's not going to die. You have Elva in case somebody dies. You got plenty of defenses. And basically the Brimstone's going to do the majority of the work here. And since it's a 5-star, there is some variability there. So you might have some slower runs or some faster runs, depending on how frequently Lady Mikage lands the Brimstone or Artak lands the Brimstone. So it looks like this run might be a little bit faster than the last. Yeah, we got this under 2 minutes. Same team. The last one ran 2:12. This ran 1:58. So there's going to be some variability there. But this feels pretty good. I would be comfortable saying that this team is a solve, it's a solution. It's not the best solution. Don't get me wrong. There are better ways to do this. Hang on a second. My chair is just a constantly sinking chair. But that feels good to me. That feels good. So I'm going to call this done and dusted. So good luck with the Fire Knight. Hopefully that team will show you. I mean, you have to invest in it a little bit, but that team will move you forward a little bit. Again, play around with the Kymar because you do have a Kymar and that reset champion, and I don't typically build with him in mind. You may be able to get faster clears with the Kymar. So you may not need as much in terms of the turn meter decrease or the wave control or whatever. So potentially, when we were looking at the Fire Knight, oh, we got rid of the team. You'll have to go back and look. But like, I do think you could potentially run that Cardiel lead. I think that we were saying Razzlevarg. Razzlevarg is also a good option. So Razzlevarg or Cardiel. You could run 2 ally attackers, though. I think Darren was saying this with the Kymar. And then run your Newt. And maybe just the one freeze champion. Probably. I mean, you don't have a slow here, so the slow would come from Yakarl, but the better freezes come from Plazar, because he's got a triple A attack on his A1. So here you would get that double ally attack. And again, you put Newt on the end, right? So Newt's going to get that turn meter decrease from his A1. And then you can have Newt nuke, and then you can reset everything with Kymar, and you can do more ally attacks and another Newt nuke on the end. And that you might be able to 2-shot the boss. So the thing about this is getting through the waves. You could pull Lady Mikage here and go for a wave clearing damage dealer if you had somebody who really crushes waves. Like, I don't know how Terrace does against waves. I don't really know Vlad that well. If you had somebody who does great wave clear, you could consider that. Sissy is weak affinity. So I'd probably go for, a magic champion if you had one. That's why, I mean, for this stage, but it's like, as you go up, you may have to mess around with your lineup. Again, get to stage 10 and then sort of solidify the lineup that you're running. But that's what I would recommend. All right. So we're going to call that a takeover. Hey, QQ, good to see you, buddy. Bagpuss, good to see you too. And Suzanne, good night. All right, so I am going to go ahead and reset the... Oh, thank you to Buster, by the way, for letting me tool around in your account. I do appreciate that. Let me get my my camera There we go. All right, let's go ahead and reset this this wheel. All right, so you can go ahead and react to the message by Sun, my editor, my editor whose name is Sun. Go ahead and react there. If you haven't done this before, you just need to be a member of my Discord community. You can click on the link in the description of this live stream. Go ahead, it'll take you over there. Scroll down through the channels, the column on the left side with all the different areas of my Discord. You'll find an area called the Coaching Corner, and in the Coaching Corner, there is a channel called the Wheel of Takeover. Click on that channel. There's a message from my editor whose name is Sun. And all you have to do is react. You only have to react once, but you can react as many times as you like. It's entirely up to you. You're only going to get entered into the wheel once. I will go ahead and spin the wheel. That winner will get the takeover. That name will get the takeover. I will DM you. Please DM me back right away with your login information, so your email and password. I will log into the account, and then you can go ahead and DM me what kind of account takeover you like. I will give you a role so that you can join me in the coaching voice channel, so you can hear me in real time, because there is a delay on the live stream. So if you want to hear my questions in real time, you can just join me in the coaching voice and then go ahead and mute the live stream. You'll be able to hear me better that way. And, if you have any restrictions, things you don't want me to touch, let me know. If you have specifics, let me know. I am not doing gear cleanses and I'm not doing Hydra today. That's just, I'm not feeling great. I'm a little bit under the weather. And so, yeah, so that's not going to happen. We've got about 90 minutes for this takeover. So that should be enough to do something like what we just did, which is like a dungeon team or maybe 2 dungeon teams. We could work on a clan boss team. We could work on faction crypts. We could work on Doom Tower. We could work on rebuilding champions. We could work on arena, live arena, 3v3 arena. I like it all. Even take a look at your siege teams if you wanted me to. The poll is very interesting. I haven't looked at the poll. Let's look at the poll. Are you going for the current fusion? Scored the half spawn. We've got 151 votes, exactly 40-60. Yes, 40%. No, 60%. I would be in the yes column. But I decided to kind of unplug this week a little bit. So we went to my in-laws' house to help them prepare for moving. They're selling the house and moving. And they've had the house for 30 years, and my wife grew up there. And so it was kind of emotional. And we actually visited last month. That's where I went on holiday. But I took my rig, I took my computer and all my stuff, and I tried to work while I was there. And it was a disaster because, 1, I didn't work very much. And 2, it was a pain in the butt to haul everything. And then 3, while I was trying to work, I wasn't really there on vacation. So this time it was an unexpected trip. We didn't really think we were going to go again, but we did. So I decided to just detach. And I don't know if you've done this. I haven't done this in a long time. I haven't done this since before I started my YouTube channel. But just like shut off the phone for a week, Like, the phone was on so I could text people and call my folks and stuff. But basically, I just logged in just enough to do my dailies. And then otherwise, I didn't play Raid, and I wasn't really on Discord. And it was fun. It was nice. It was nice to not. So there was no way for me to do the fusion and do that. And so I'm kind of thinking that once or twice a year, I've got to do that. I've got to detach for a week because it helps to reset the brain a little bit. And obviously, I love being here. I love Takeover Tuesdays, hanging out with you folks, making videos and being on YouTube. But at the same time, it's constant. Raid is constant. It happens every day. And if you're a content creator, you have to be there every day. You can't really take those breaks very often. So that was kind of nice to be able to do that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and spin this wheel. So if you need to react now. Here we go. Let's see. By the way, you can only win one every 90 days. So if you want to have one in the last 90 days, I will know. Score just hit the absolute top Hydra damage, you think? That would be interesting. More than Teox. Because that Teox is insane. Broso, that's awesome. LFC, I appreciate that.
Get well soon, you and the family.
Let me give that some love. I don't know why my text-to-speech has not been working recently. And it is enabled. But I haven't had a moment. So LFC just tipped $5. Thank you so much. Get well soon, you and the family. Yeah, being sick with a baby is not great. And he was sick last week. By the way, he was great about it. He wasn't really cranky. He was cranky for like a day or two. And then he's just been dealing with it. My wife's been up and down a little bit. It's hard when you're taking care of a sick baby to get the rest that you need to get healthy, so that's tricky. And I was able to avoid most of it until this past week, just like 4 days ago. I started feeling run down. And Yeah, so that's what if you're hearing a little bit of rasp in my throat, that's what I've got going on. But it is what it is. I was talking to a friend of a friend, and she was saying her kids are a little bit older, but she was saying that congratulations on the baby and stuff, but that you're going to get more sick than you've ever been in your life over like the next 10 to 15 years. It's like they just give you everything. Like they go out into the world and interact with a bunch of other kids. They're all a bunch of germ factories, and they bring them back home and get you sick over and over and over again. She's like, that's just the way it is. I was like, okay, so it's starting already. All right, we've got a winner. Robert Hewitt. Now, Robert Hewitt. You just won one, didn't you? So I have a message from you on July 24th. Yeah, you just won. Let's double check that. Let's just. So here's the thing. I did a spontaneous takeover live stream on Sunday. Let me see if this is that day. No. Okay. So the 24th. 24th was a Wednesday. Okay, so you didn't win. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. No, you did win. You did win. You won on the 18th. Oh, no, you didn't. You just sent me your login information for something. That's what it was. Gotcha. Okay. You did send me your login information because we were talking about something else. That's what it was. That's why I'm confused. I don't normally have login information for people. No, now Robert Hewitt has been around and trying for a takeover for a while. And we talked about a takeover, but we haven't actually done one. Okay. So, right. Yeah. No, this is his first take. All right. So let me get you the role so you can join me in voice. Sorry about that. Okay. So you can go ahead and join me in the coaching voice if you like. And then shoot me a DM and let me know what kind of account takeover you would like. Yeah, right. I appreciate that. I am going to do that video, by the way. I'm trying to do a video on spending accounts versus free-to-play accounts. It might be a video series. It just got interrupted by this trip that we took. So hopefully that'll be something I start putting together, not this week, but maybe by the end of this week, maybe next week. I've got a lot of people who are interested in that series. So we're gonna make that a thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the account. We are working on Cleopteryx. So somewhere past 270 days, but before 390 days, somewhere in there between 270 and 390. You can actually kind of figure it out if you want. I mean, you can exactly figure it out if you want. Just come over here, go to fragments, see how many fragments we have for Cleopteryx. We have 25 fragments, so the first 30 days is down. So that's 330 plus 6, 7, 8, 338. So 338 days, a little bit less than a year. Let's go ahead and look at the roster. Let's do, if Crop is still here. 46 6 stars. Look at that. Look at that. I don't have to add at all. We do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 9 would be 45. Plus 1 is 46. I like doing the math anyway. You do have yourself a Newt, and you got your Lady Mikage. You got your Wixwell. That's awesome. You got double Pythions. That's actually pretty cool. Pythion is incredibly useful, and now you can build one for PvP and one for PvE. Not bad. Or, yeah, I would probably build one for PvP and one for PvE, and you could use the PvP one in PvE at the lower levels, like if you wanted both of them for Hydra or something. They're kind of sick. $3v3 and okay. So you're looking for arena help. Okay. Looking for arena help. There we go. All right, so you're looking for arena 3v3 help. Let's go ahead and take a look at your main arena team. Okay, and how does this do? Okay. Arena 5. So let's take a look at your Garrel here. Okay. 9-piece set of Slayer. Nice. That's nice. Now, she is an HP-based damage dealer, right? No, when she switches, she's attack-based damage dealer. Okay. And you can see her totals here. 3,400 attack, 226 crit damage. Okay, so unfortunately, to get the 9-piece Slayer, you're giving away the crit damage amulet, but, you know, whatever. Like, you're going to do it, right? So the crit damage isn't overwhelming at 239. But it's not a bad build. Not a bad build. 5,100 attack, 239 crit damage. Solid. All right. How's Rathalos built? Is he also a 9-piece Slayer? Jeez. Wow. That's sweet. That's nice. You have that option. I can't. I think I might be at the point where I can make one 9-piece Slayer set now. And it's not good. How's your Wukong? Kind of in between. Four-piece Slayer? Yeah. All right, so you've got some options. You've got another 9-piece Slayer set. Nice. Some of these are short on crit rate. I don't know if... Does she bring a crit rate buff? I don't know if you have people who are bringing crit rate buffs into your team. That, right? Okay. Currently in silver 2. Okay, so first of all, you're always going to run an Arbiter team, right? You're going to run an Arbiter team. Let's see how your Arbiter's built. Let's see how fast she is. 322. That's a really nice speed. That's going to be... That's not going to be enough for gold 3v3, probably. Now you're running her in Relentless. I'm assuming it's pretty fast Relentless. You got the speed there. You know, so I get it. This is a really nice speed piece here with 25 speed on it. That's a nice quad roll there. By the way, if you quad roll, you don't have them. I would drop a 6-star glyph on that next time you get one. You know, go for the 8 if you can get it. How is that as a 4 roll? That's not bad, actually. You got a 6 and you rolled 4 more 6s. That's 30. That's pretty good for a quad roll, too. It's not a low quad roll. It's not a high quad roll. You didn't roll any 7s. But it's on the up is above average, I would say. You know, I think a 4, like a quad roll, probably average is like 28, maybe 27 or 28 speed. So 30 is a nice roll. So I would probably get her into a speed build. So if you have speed boots with the speed ascension, and if not, you know, you just go for whatever makes sense. 6-star if you can get it. I wouldn't do any other set than speed, except for divine speed, or I would consider righteous. I would consider righteous, and I would consider supersonic if you have some accessories, because you can potentially you know, get maybe I don't know. Like, I would probably only do it if you could get to 9. But maybe if you can get to 4, you know, if you can get to 5, then that might be worth it. Because if you can do a speed set and then a 5-piece supersonic, maybe. I don't know. But speed, divine speed, and those two. And then, so let's just go ahead and try this on. And then here, let's look. Same thing, divine speed. We don't have silver. All right. See how fast you can get. And we could always, I guess, prioritize speed. I'm just curious as to what speed we could reach. Wait, what happened? Did I swap out? You're actually faster with the relentless, huh? Yeah, I could potentially do that. Wow. Yeah, so your relentless is actually faster than your speed gear. I mean, you could definitely glyph some more, but I think the big difference is just this extra 12 speed on the boots. So I get it. So what I'm thinking is, like, you're in silver 2 right now, and you have a decent amount of speed, 322 or whatever it was on your arbiter. I am currently pushing for gold. I'm in silver 4 and I'm pushing for gold. I took like a year off from 3v3 arena basically when I was doing my channel. I kept getting demoted because I just wasn't paying attention to it. So I'm pushing, and I definitely have the roster for it, and I think I have the gear for it. My arbiter is running at almost 400 speed, and she's barely fast enough. She's barely fast enough. Now, you don't have to use your arbiter into arbiter teams. There is a strategy here where you could say, go second teams into their arbiter teams and take your arbiter into their slower teams. So for instance, here, if your arbiter is running at 325 or 340 or whatever, you might take her into the Deacon team, because Deacon's probably not running that fast. He's probably running at like 280. You know what I mean? So you're fast enough to take this Deacon down. So there is a way to build around a subpar arbiter in terms of speed. So that's an option. So I think what we still want to build a go first team for her that makes sense. So what I would probably do is I would just start there, because arbiter is going to be the cornerstone of, like, she's going to be one team, and it's an easy team to build, and you don't have to mess around with it too much. So what I would probably do is go for a second turn meter filler. A really good one is Deacon if you have them. You could use Seeker or Haikatoon, but those are both 50s. I don't want to use Runekeeper Dazdirk if I don't have to, because that gives you a potential for a second go first team. But if we don't have a second turn meter filler anyway, like it might not matter, and we might just go with Runekeeper Dazzler. The other option is you bypass the second turn meter filler and you bring in Kymar, right? And you go with a CC instead. You know, so Kymar would have to be running fast enough to connect to Arbiter. The other option would be you run, so you have three options, right? You go double turn meter filler to get to your nukers and stuff like that. So what I would think is like, I'll just set it up for you what I'm sort of thinking about. So let's say you do this, into this, into this, into a nuker, right? You'd prefer an attack-based nuker. Let's call it Rathalos for now. Whatever. It's not perfect. I like Rathalos, but he's not perfect because you'd prefer to have that HP burn, but whatever. So let me show this team off a little bit. So the idea here, this is the classic go first team. You have Arbiter who has the speed aura. She's your fastest champion. She gives you a 30% turn meter fill, which means you get a nice chunky gap between her and the next turn meter filler. The next turn meter filler is Runekeeper Dazzler. He gives you, I think it's 25%. He also gives you 25% turn meter fill plus another increased attack. That's the reason why I wouldn't want to normally use them together, because he could fill her role in a different team. But because we don't have a second turn meter filler here that's better, at least right now, I can always do a search. We can see if there's somebody. Like Haikatoon could fill that role, right? But so we're getting 55% turn meter fill. That gives us a really nice big speed gap down to Madame Saris. Madame Saris gives you the buff strip and the decreased defense. Beautiful. The only champion better at this job than Madame Saris is Wukong. That's it. Like literally, she's the best in the game for this because she gives you that turn meter strip. I mean, that buff strip, plus she gives you that decreased defense, and she is void affinity. So, and it's not a hit, so she's not going to weak hit. So you don't have to worry about weak hits ever. With Wukong, you have to worry about it a little bit, but the reason that he's better is because you've got that sheep option mechanic, and he hits hard when he buff strips. So, and then you've got your attack-based nuker here because you're getting that increased attack. So you can run him, 195 speed, 205 speed, 210 speed, whatever it is to give you that gap. Now, what we would say is we want to look at let's go ahead and look at our Arbiter. She's running at 322. So let's pull up the calculator. So if she's running at 322, you can divide that by 1.3 because she gives a 30% turn meter fill. That gives you the speed for Runekeeper. So Runekeeper just needs to run around above 248. I'd probably build him at like 255, 260, 265, because that'll give you room to grow your Arbiter's speed without rebuilding him, right? And it never hurts to have a little bit of overlap in your turn meter fillers, especially because sometimes the enemy is running like either a blessing or a champion that can reduce your turn meter or like affect your turn meter increase or whatever. So it's good to not have to be perfect, to have some overlap, have some leeway. So yeah, like I said, if you could build them at like 260, 265, that would be really good. And then what you have here is you'd have 55%. So you can take 322, divide it by 1.55. That's the 55%. And this gives you the speed for Madame Saris and Rathalos, because Madame Saris doesn't increase the turn meter. So here you'd want to run Madame Saris, say around like 215, 220, 225. And you want to run Rathalos at like 210, 215. He can run 1 speed, 2 speed less than Madame Saris. You could run them right up next to each other if you wanted to, or he can run a bit slower and she can run a little bit faster. Again, it's good to have a little bit of leeway because if you improve the speed on Arbiter, everybody's speed has to go up, right? So it'd be better to run him, especially if you're running him in PvE anyway. Like I said, that 220 to 250 range is where you want to run most of your end game PvE damage dealers, unless they're speed tuned to go slower. So, I would probably say shoot for 265 on Runekeeper Dazzler, shoot for like 225 to 230 on Madame Saris, and shoot for like 215 to 225 on Rathalos. And then you've got a really nice go first speed tune, right? That should just one-shot enemy speed teams, like go first teams, if you're faster, right? They should also do pretty good work against go second teams that don't have like a really good defense. Like if they don't have a UDK, right, or they don't have a Necrit, you're probably blowing them up. One of the things that you have to worry about going into go second teams is Stone Skin. Taking a go first team into a go second team, you always have to worry about Stone Skin. The only way you bypass Stone Skin with this team is if Madame Saris strips it. So you do have a chance. You have a chance against Stone Skin, but it's a little bit problematic. The other thing is you could be fast enough to go twice against the enemy here. And, you know, maybe Arbiter is tanky enough to give you revives. You do have a cleanse from Runkeeper Dazzler, which is really nice. So, and then, you know, Madame Saris has her fears and her block debuffs and all that stuff as well if she steals buffs. She steals buffs in turn on a different skill than strips buffs. If you don't know that, like, this is Madame Saris. She's ridiculous. She has this A3. That's the buff strip. Gives a decreased attack and decreased defense. But her A2 steals buffs. Has a 50% chance of stealing a random buff from each target. Places a block debuff buff on all allies if any buff is stolen. So if you steal one buff, you get a block debuffs buff. So this is a nice team. It's a nice team. It's not a perfect go first team, but it's good. It's very good. The perfect go first team in this particular case would be to have Astrid or Deacon here in the second spot, because that would give you a decreased defense or a weaken, which would improve your damage. But you don't need the decreased defense. It would be Astrid. Astrid would give you the weaken. With Deacon, I would probably end up putting in Wukong here. So it would be Deacon, Wukong, Rathalos, because then you don't need Madame Saris's decreased defense, right? So you might do that. That might be a harder hitting go first team, which I would really like to see, but it doesn't look like you have a Deacon. I can search for a Deacon just to see. You do not have a Deacon Armstrong. Okay. So that's a pretty solid go first team. And if you're wondering why am I not using Garrel with that team, two reasons. One is she doesn't get any value out of the, oh no, she is an attack-based champion. Sorry, let me get rid of this calculator. You don't need to watch this calculator for that whole thing. So you could put Garrel there. You could put Garrel here. And if she's your hardest hitting attack-based champion, maybe I would. Because she's going to transform anyway, right? Okay, so you can use her. Whoever is your hardest hitting attack-based champion you want on this. So I keep forgetting because her main form is HP based, but her alternate form is attack. All right, now we need some go second teams. Now you've got some really good go second champs, and then we can think about what the third team is going to be. Usually I have kind of flexible teams. I don't have just 3 teams. I have like 6 teams, maybe 7. Like I mix and match, and some of the teams will use the same champions. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I don't just have one Arbiter team. I have like 3 Arbiter teams. I don't have just one UDK team. I have like 3 UDK teams. So I probably mix and match. Like I have one go first team. I have one like of my most optimal go second teams. Let me just check on a champion here. Let me see. Who do you have as a bomb champion? Okay. So one thing to know about bomb champions: bombs bypass Stone Skin. Stone Skin does not block bombs, nor does it block the damage of bomb. So it's good to have at least one bomb champion built in your roster if you have a good one. Lord Shazar is a good one. So you could consider building him to give yourself an additional way to get through Stone Skin. It's not a bad idea to build your bomb champion in Stone Skin. So he can bypass Stone Skin, plus you can kind of guarantee that he gets his bombs off. If you can't guarantee it, but you give him a better chance of getting his bombs off. And again, that would be another champion that you would probably want an increased attack with. So you want to go ahead and pair your bomb champions with increased attack champions. So go ahead and look at your increased attack champions. And think about who you might want to pair that champion with. Now, if you're going on a go second team, increased attack champions might be somebody like Mithrala or like a support-based champion. Here we've got, let's see. So increase attack and increase defense on all allies for 2 turns, places block damage buff on allies with less than 30% HP, places a shield, heals. This is kind of cool. So like he might be, I don't know. It feels like he might be pretty good for Arena, like as a go second team. Obviously you have Kandrafon, who's a great attack-based damage dealer for a go second team. Again, he's not built, but these are things that you want to think about moving forward. Now, Xena is fantastic in Arena. Fills this champion's turn meter by 100%, places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever 8 or more buffs are placed on the enemy team in a single turn. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure if this is affected by bolster sets. Like if that's counted as the same turn. But if you have an enemy champion who does multiple buffs, like Duchess, like Mithrala, like Lydia, like Siphi, like Cardiel. Arbiter doesn't, right? She just basically gives you the turn meter fill and the increased attack. So that's not going to be enough to activate Xena. But if we're looking at Lady Mikage's ally attack would be enough. Duchess's, her buff would be enough. Because she gives perfect veils and block debuff. So this is a damage dealer you use into go first team or teams that have these particular champions. You have to be careful about Warlord though, because he can lock you out. Can't lock out your passive, but he can lock out your actives. So now let's talk about some go second teams. I mean, you don't have a UDK. So that's the first place I look because he's the most nightmarish and he pairs really, really well with Wukong. But I just want to make sure that you don't have Ultimate Deadly. Okay, you don't. So we want to build around strong passives typically. So Chris can be really nice because he places a shield when you come into the when you spawn into the arena. I don't know that I would put him in Slayer. I don't know whether I would build him for damage. I would make him a bulwark for you. So you want him to land his decreased speed. You want him to land his provoke. You want that shield, right? And he can pair well with a bunch of other champions. I would consider putting him on a team with a Pythion in Stoneskin. Build one of these Python. They're both booked. So build this one who's unbuilt. Build him in Stoneskin. You want him decently fast. He needs no accuracy. So get him to, 240 to 280 speed, somewhere in there. A little bit faster tends to be better to have your cleanser and, at the top of the thing. You can build a slow Pythion in Stoneskin. Like, that can be a way. You can speed tune him relatively slow and put him at like 170, 180. That's a way some people run it. I don't like that. I think he's less useful in other places then. And you want a 2-turn Stoneskin. So you get the shields, you get the cleanses, you get the heals, you get the provokes, you get the revives, you get all of that with these two. Now you pair them with Wukong. If Wukong dies, he just comes back. He dies, he comes back. He dies, he comes back. And then, you'd want to work somebody else in there who helps that team somehow. Now, there are a bunch of things that you can do to help that team. You can have a decreased defense. You can have a double revive. You could have, a stun. You could have a defensive base damage dealer. So you could do Wixwell, who's, got that decreased attack and the shields and more provokes and increased defense. And, he's got the counter. It's like, this could pair really well. Plus it gives you the increased defense in all battles aura, right? Because currently all we're running off of is Pythion's increased resistance, which we don't really probably want to run if we're running Stoneskin. You could run a defensive based damage dealer. I don't know if you have one. Doesn't really look like it. You could run another support. Oh, here we got Samson, right? Samson is pretty badass. He's got that 30% in all battles. He's got an AoE that hits pretty hard. This guy is actually a pain in the butt. So you could run him. He is an HP based damage dealer, but that's going to synergize decently well with the increased defense. Make him hard to kill. So you might do something like that. So let's go ahead and put that team in. So let's say we ran, and this is kind of spitballing. You have to see how they're built. You have to run them and see how effective they are, what your gear is. I do like the idea of this. I mean, you do have Grisura as well. Like, he and Chris together would be kind of stupid. I'm stupidly powerful and weird and disruptive and unfortunate. I don't know how good he would be on offense. On defense, I would probably avoid that team. But so let's say we did. Let's say we did Samson, Pythion, and Wukong. That gives you 2 damage dealers. You might not even need the 2 damage dealers. It might be better. I mean, having the buff strip is important. You typically need a buff strip. Having that, is good. But this could potentially be a nice go second team. It could be really nice. On a go second team, you need a few different things. You either need Stoneskin or you need Bolster. You need one or the other, almost invariably. Krisk kind of brings you that shield, right? So potentially you mix that with Stoneskin here and it has the same effect. You need a way to recover from debuffs. So you need a cleanser, typically. You have to have a cleanse because you're going to get debuffed even if you're not going to get killed. So unless you're running all Stoneskin, which also blocks debuffs, then you need to run a cleanser. And then you have you need a way to strip the buffs off of the enemy, because if they go first, they're going to get all of their buffs. Now, if you're going into a go first team like this Arbiter here, they don't have any buffs that you care about. You don't need a buff strip. So you can always pull this Wukong out and put him into a different team, like on the fly, right? When you play 3v3 Arena, it's very rarely full auto, right? It's very, like, you swap teams around, you rebuild teams, you swap out champions. But if you're going up against the go first team and you just want to survive, then okay, you probably don't need a buff strip because they don't have any defensive buffs worth stripping. You don't care about that. You want to save this for a go second team. You want to save this for a UDK team. You want to save this for a Duchess team or a Siphi team. You want to have high accuracy. Now, maybe you run Madame Saris instead, right? Maybe if you're running Wukong as a half nuker, you know, when you're going up against that Duchess team, that Siphi team, you need to run somebody with 500, 600 accuracy. And in that case, you're not running Wukong, right? Because you're not gonna waste all of that on Wukong. You're gonna make Wukong more damagey. So in that case, maybe you run Madame Saris. That gives you the decreased defense in terms and the decreased attack, which synergizes really well. And now you're like, okay, now I'm only running. Let's see, where is she? Like, let's say you're running this. Now you're basically running Samson as the damage dealer. You are running the provoke, right? You're running the fears. So you are disruptive. This is a very difficult team to get through for an enemy. The downside here is if they're very fast, right, what'll happen is they cycle around multiple times and you're going to have to use your Pythion to like revive people and then you don't have the buffs up. You know, that can be a thing. So it's not perfect. No team is perfect, but this gives you an opportunity to run a go second team. I do think even here, like I might set this up with the Madame Saris and only bring in the Wukong if I needed the extra firepower. Okay. Now you have a chance for another go first team, right? You can run a go first team off of a Kymar. If he's your fastest champion and he CCs the enemy team, again, Stone Skin is a problem there. You know, you have a Wukong who's got a 28% speed aura as well. So you've got multiple opportunities to run go first teams, but you only have 2 turn meter fillers built to 60 at least. Now you do have High Katoon at 50 and you have Seeker at 50, and both of them can fill this role. This is not a bad pairing, by the way. I like this pairing. You run Seeker fast. You run Seeker at 300 speed, 280, 290, 310, 320. Wukong gives you the aura that Seeker doesn't bring. Seeker brings you the 30% turn meter fill and increased attack that Arbiter brings. He's just as good as a go first champion as Arbiter. The only thing is he's not bringing his own speed aura, right? And he's naturally slower than Arbiter at 110. I think Seeker's 100 maybe. What is he? What is Seeker's base speed? It might be like 103 or something. Yeah, 103. I don't know if he gets faster at 6-star. I don't think he does. I think 103 is his speed, but he might bump up to 105 or something. But so you can still build him fast. So he can be the turn meter filler on a go first team, right? You could pair him with a High Katoon. You could pair him with an Apothecary. You could pair him with whatever. Now you've got the turn meter fill, the increased attack, and the buff strip, and the nuke all to get in 2 champions. You know, and so this gives you an opportunity to now play around with that. You know, do you want that Kymar setup? Do you want that? Kymar's another buff stripper. I didn't even think about that. He's also a buff stripper. But so, you know, do you want to bring in another damage dealer? Do you want to bring in somebody who does something kind of like, you know, do you want to bring in this? Do you want to bring in that bomb champion? In which case, you put him in the lead, right? Because he's got this speed aura 33%. He's even faster. So that could actually be really great. This is also a nice combo. Again, probably Stone Skin on your Lord Shazar. I mean, you also have Lady Mikage we have to consider. You have Xena we have to consider. And we have Necrit, who is a beautiful go second champion. So we got to consider him. Phoenix at +4. Does he have a +4 Phoenix? He does. He hasn't built him yet. Okay, here's an idea. Here's an idea for a Phoenix team. Not quite. Let me, I gotta do a search here. Okay. Yeah, it's not quite there. All right, so I might do something like this. So the idea behind this team, sorry I was so quiet for so long. I was kind of thinking my way through this. So Phoenix is A1, blocks revives. That's what you want to use him for, right? He's going to hit hard. He does have an AoE that is useful and hits hard. But actually what I would want to use him for is his A1. An ally attacker gets him an extra A1. Lady Mikage gives him an increased attack and increased crit damage. So he's going to hit very hard. He's going to have the 2 buffs that are going to boost his damage. So you do have to build him with 100% crit rate because he's not getting crit rate from anybody else. Kaimar gives you the speed aura. Lady Mikage probably is your first champion. Okay. Now, you do have another option. You can run Kaimar first. So what Kaimar would do is he would strip all the buffs. So if you want to run him first, he's a buff stripper, right? So he removes all the buffs. Lady Mikage activates the ally attack, buffs Athel and Phoenix. Athel on her A1 lays down a weaken for Phoenix to hit even harder. I was looking for a decreased defense champion, but a weakened champion is good too. This is 100% chance. So affinity matters, but each hit has a 100% chance of a weaken. So even if she's weak affinity, she's probably going to land the debuff if she has the accuracy. She doesn't need to hit that hard, but she also gets a bonus out of the increased attack. So she's like a half nuker. You're kind of running her like a Wukong. You want her with accuracy and a decent, like 100% crit rate and decent crit damage, but you kind of run her in that spot, right? She's got the triple hit. She's going to land the weaken. Then Phoenix comes in with that A1 and just kills this champion. This is an anti-Wukong team, right? Like, if their only damage dealer is a Wukong, if they have one damage dealer and like 3 revivers, this is a team that kills that team, right? Now, their damage dealer's dead. They've probably done nothing but buff on, and on their other thing. Now, Kaimar can come back around, and if he hasn't buff stripped, now he can buff strip. If he's already buff stripped, he can reset, and now you get another ally attack and you do it all again. And you can pick off the next champion, right? So it's a cool little team. It's a niche team, but it has fun options, right? It has fun options and it can be highly useful. You can also use this in Siege, by the way. There are going to be some teams you're going to come up against which are just there to impede your progress, to prevent you from being like Marishka teams. Right? Like, not with Terrace necessarily, but just a Marishka team. You kill her with Phoenix first. And then you never worry about her being revived and reviving the rest of the team. Right? So this is an anti-Marishka kind of team. So that's an option. Somebody mentioned looking at Queen Eva. I was thinking about Eva. I want to see how she's built. So she has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit. So you only need to build her with 85%, which you did, 86%. She also blocks revive. This A3 is sick. This A3 makes her one of the best Nightmare campaign farmers in the game, but you can also use it in Arena. Obviously, she's not fully booked. Got pretty good crit damage, though, at 287. That's nice. And 7,000 attack, 7,300 attack? Wow. Okay. 7,300 attack, 287% crit damage. She might be... She might be this. I might use her there. Because for raw damage, she's just going to crush. And you're going to be able to pick your spots and not have to worry about stone skin so much and stuff like that. So this could be her. And that would allow you... yeah, that would allow you to potentially save Garrel for a go second team. Now, the reason Garrel can be really nice for a go second team is that she starts in her HP mode and then transfers. So this is true for all mythicals. If you use them in their second form, right? It takes a turn for them to transform. So that reduces debuffs, right? That not only reduces the duration of any buffs that you've put on, but it reduces the duration of their debuffs. So let's see. So if you have a 2-turn debuff, right, what'll happen is you'll transform, that'll reduce it to 1-turn debuff, then you'll do your attack, and then that will remove the debuff. So if you have a decreased defense or a weaken, or anything that like gives you a chance of dying, or a block buffs or something, like that 2 turns will actually kind of act like a mini cleanse. It's not perfect because if you have a decreased attack or something, that's still on, but it allows you like access to sort of this extra mechanic for getting rid of buffs. Or I'm sorry, getting rid of debuffs. The downside of using her on a Ghost second team is that I don't think she self-buffs, right? So you would have to bring somebody to buff her. So when you're building her team, if you use her in a Go first team, then you have all the buffs that you need. Right? If you bring her here, then you have those buffs. Now, we talked about like putting a High Katoon or something here in the Runekeeper Dazzler spot, and you could do that. And that would allow you to use Runekeeper Dazzler in a Go second team. He is a cleanser and a healer. And he can be pretty tanky. So you can do that. Let's see who else do you have as an increased attack champion? Ursula can certainly go in a Go second team. And Seeker can go on a Go second team or a Go first team. He works well in either case. So it would probably end up being Ursula. Unless you're using Lady Mikage, but we're using her somewhere else. So she gives you that decreased attack with the increased attack, which is nice. She also gives you a really nice AoE revive. The Speed Aura doesn't play in Arena, unfortunately. You can build her nice and tanky. She looks squishy. People say she's squishy. Yours is +4 or +2. So she's going to be a little bit tankier. But you just go pure defense on her. It's like if you use her in Doom Tower as a speed lead, I probably would leave her there. I wouldn't put her in a Go second team. But then just be aware that your Geralt's not going to hit super hard and may take several turns to kill the enemy. Which is okay. Like, that's fine too. Let's see, what else could we come up with that would be fun here? We got to talk about Necrit. We got to figure out something for Necrit. So Necrit has a couple of skills. One, he has this passive. So places a block debuffs and a strengthen for 3 turns on the ally with the lowest max HP at the start of each round. Places an ally protection on them for 6 turns that can't be removed. So he defends one champion really well, right? Just one champion though, which is So you got to figure out like who you're pairing him with. The second passive is whenever an ally attacked while under an ally protection buff placed by this champion for 6 turns, places a shield buff on the ally equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. Occurs only if the ally does not already have a shield buff placed by this champion. So again, protecting this one nuker, basically. Okay. Then you have a block debuffs, ally protection buff, and strengthen buff. Again, the ally protection cannot be removed. So even once this one gets removed, you can put it back on the champion. And then you have an ally attack All allies under ally protection buffs placed by this champion will join the attack. So you could potentially get a 3-person attack here. If you place this ally attack not on the main person who has the, like, somebody gets a passive ally protection, you can place this on another champion, and then you get the ally attack and get both of those people. And grants an extra turn if no enemies are killed during the attack, which often happens, giving you another opportunity to, like, get back around your skills. And then this is a decreased attack that cannot be resisted, which is really nice. Low chance to land, though. Not super low. Let's see. Each hit has a 30% chance, so you're missing roughly 35%. It's about a 2/3 chance to land. So, you know, who do you pair him with? Do you pair him with the Xena? Do you pair him with the Garrel? I like pairing him with a champion who has an AoE on the A1, right? So here, when you get an ally attack, anytime you get an ally attack for any reason, or a counter attack for any reason, consider AoE A1 champion. Now, the downside of the Garrel pairing is that, so let's see, this is the base form. So if you're on a go second team, she is using this attack. If you get her set up first, right, and you transform her before anything happens, then she gets to use an AoE A1, which is nice. Right? And it has a 50% chance, 70% chance? No, 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on, no, that's this one. 20% chance of repeating the attack. So she could potentially hit twice with this. That's pretty cool. I like that. But if you had somebody who had an AoE A1 naturally and didn't have to transform like Cupidus, right, now you get that damage out there and it's guaranteed to be an AoE, you know? I mean, you also have Oboro, but you need debuffs out there for hers. You could also run him with Phoenix. That would be kind of interesting because you'd have that ally attack. Plus, Phoenix is going to be constantly brought into these attacks. But let's see. Whenever an ally is attacked, no, where is it? This one. So, you know, again, you have an ally attack here, and this might keep Phoenix alive more. Like, this would be a better. I like the ally attack with Lady Mikage a lot. I really like that kind of setup. But this would be simpler. This would be simple. You just put Phoenix in a team with you know, Necrit. Maybe you mix in somebody like this. You know, somebody give you some more defenses, some more chaos, some more disruption. I mean, this would be kind of interesting. So we could do something like, where is Necrit? I like the other Pythion here, honestly. I like a Pythion in Stone Skin a lot. But you could do this. Right. Now we talked about a go second team for Garrel because she can she'll be in her HP based form, you know. So here you've got that increased defense, you've got the ally protection, you've got the passive heals from 2 different champions. So if you look at this, Grazura has this passive whenever this champion is heals all allies except this champion by 7% of the damage received. This is kind of like a Vogoth thing, right? Like it's strong. So he heals, and then you've got Syl when she takes a turn, she heals. From him, he increases the duration of ally buffs, ally protection, right? He's got an increased resistance, increased defense, and provoke. She's got an AoE stun. She's got that revive in case anybody dies. You've got Necrot with all of the additional strength and block debuffs, ally protections, and shields, plus the decreased attack, plus the ally attack, and then Garrel is doing all the work, right? This is why I kind of like Pythion here for the cleanse, because we don't have a cleanse on this team. It's also an AoE revive, but still really synergizes well with Grazura, I think. I think this is pretty cool. I'm sorry, Robert, you've been typing a lot. She will kill Wukong with UDK. Ursula, okay. Who's in bolster? Somebody's in bolster. Is Garrel in bolster? Necrot's in bolster. Gotcha. You know, so the key to 3v3 arena isn't building 3 good arena teams. I think that's a mistake that people make. And you get stuck in mid-tier silver, which is where I've been stuck, you know, for a long time. And I knew the way to get out. I just didn't have the time to devote to it because I actually pushed silver 4 like 15 months ago. And then I fell all the way back down to bronze 4. And I kept getting demoted. Because it takes time. You have to devote the time to it. And you have to remember to like change your defenses when you're like silver 1 and silver 2. Because you want to farm the one-man defenses. And then you have to change your defense and climb back up the ladder. And I kept messing that up. So in the last month, maybe 6 weeks, I started paying attention. And I went from bronze 4 to silver 4 in 4 weeks. And then this week I've stayed in silver 4. I didn't get into gold for the last week. Because again, I haven't had time. But it's hard. Like the first week I got really close. I got probably like 3 victories away from gold. And the key to doing well in 3v3 is it depends on where you are. So right now, it depends on what your goal is. Right now, you're in silver 2. Silver 2 is beautiful, by the way. Silver 2 is a great place to be. So what you do every week at the beginning of the week is you put in one-man defenses. Don't even put in 60s. Don't put in good 60s. Like, put in some crap level 40s or 50s or level 1s in all 3 spots, right? And what happens is you get knocked down. You get knocked down into the red. You get knocked down all the way to the bottom of the red. And every single person on your page will be a one-man defense. And all week long, for 4 or 5 days, you just do all 20 battles or 30 battles, however many you get. I forget. You get 20, right? You get at least 20 every day. Maybe 30. I forget. I know you get 20. Because you get the advanced 10 pack plus the 10 every day. And you just farm gold bars. Silver 2 is a great place to do this. This is probably the most friendly tier to do this. Right? Silver 3, you can do it too. But it's a little bit trickier. So you just farm it all. Now, the reset happens on Sunday night, I believe. Let me double check that. So today is Tuesday. Yeah, so so I think it happens Sunday night for me. So So what I would say is like on Friday morning or Thursday night, go in and put your real defense in. Right? Now, if you're trying to climb, you want to do it on like Thursday night. If you're not trying to climb, you're just trying to hold serve, put it in on like Saturday morning. So you have some time. And then all you have to do is push this bar back up into the yellow and then comfortably float here. And you'll get thousands of bars over the course of the week. And then you can come here to the bazaar and you can buy this ancient shard and you can buy the void shard because you're in silver and you can buy the refresh accessories and you can buy the energy and the, you know, and you can do all of that every single time it comes around in silver 2 or silver 3. It's a beautiful place to be. Now, if you want to get up here to these refresh accessories, or if you want to get access to the legendary skill tome or the sacred shard, or if you're trying to push the Ramantu missions, right? If you're pushing these missions and you're like, I need to go further, right? I need to get Ramantu. And you're not, by the way, you're not pushing that. You haven't fused Razin. You know, it's like you're not pushing this. So I don't know why, you know, gold arena would be key. I don't know if it matters here. I don't think it does. So, you know, but if you are pushing the Ramantu missions, you need to get to gold 1, I think, at least. So that would be a reason to push. But if you're not doing that, silver 2 and silver 3 are a beautiful place to just chill. But let's say you wanted to push. Then, you know, Thursday night, you put in your real defenses. And because you've done it on Thursday night, there's still going to be a lot of one-man defenses. The one-man defenses are going to get you basically to like close. And you're only going to have to find 5 battles or something, maybe 7 battles over the next 2 or 3 days. Like if you did your 5 battles a day and you won 3 each day, you know, and like the ones that you lost, you only lost 1 out of the 2 or 1 out of the 3 or something. If you didn't lose a lot of points on the losses, it'd be really easy to climb, you know, into the green. You don't need that much. Now, once you get into silver 3, getting from silver 3 to silver 4 is hard. Getting from silver 4 to gold is really hard. And then staying in gold apparently is pretty hard too. But you can't farm gold bars in gold. Right? So the idea to me would be, if you want to get this sacred shard, and by the way, you can only get the sacred shard like once a month. I think it's a 4-week cooldown. It's at least a 2-week cooldown. I know it's at least a 2-week cooldown because the void shard is a 2-week cooldown. So if you get to gold, you buy this, and if it's a 2-week cooldown, maybe it's a 3-week cooldown. I don't know if anybody knows. You go ahead and you drop back into silver 4 or silver 3. And then you can climb back in time. Like you could do that. You could drop 2 and climb 2 if you had to, if it's a month-long timer. But at the very least, you could be in gold and then drop into silver 4 and do that. I put in a one-man defense in silver 4 the first week. And then I switched it with 3 days left, with 72 hours left. And I had to play really hard to stay in silver 4. So that's difficult. That's not easy to do. You can do it, though. You can do it. But what I would say is this, you know, the like I said, the key to staying in or progressing in 3v3 arena is not just building 3 good teams. You need to dedicate 20 to 25 champions to good builds. A good third to half of which have to be built specifically for PvP. Not just your nukers. Because we build nukers for PvP, you know, or we build, you know, like Arbiter for PvP, but we don't build all of these other champions for PvP. So what I would say is, you know, out of your roster, there are champions who can do very well in PvP in their PvE build. So in their normal build, they still do well in PvP. But I'm looking at this Sun Wukong, and I'm like, this is a great, great PvP champion. Absolutely fantastic. Doesn't have the 100% crit rate and not enough crit damage to be a nuker. Doesn't have enough accuracy to be a buff stripper. This guy needs a rebuild for arena. Now, maybe he's built for PvE somewhere and he's great for it. That's fine. But he's not built for PvP. Right? I use my Wukong as a buff stripper and half nuker. I call him a half nuker. He hits hard, but he's not built in Savage. Right? I have him in 3 perception sets. he runs at like 250 speed. He's got 350 accuracy or 400 accuracy. Okay, use him in Hydra. Okay. So in Hydra, he actually needs more accuracy than this unless you're running him in like normal Hydra. Like for Hydra, I think you need 275 for, let me go. We can check again. All right, so again, raid stages tool, we just go over to Hydra. Doesn't matter the rotation. This is not gonna work. You got to refresh this sometimes. All right, so let's check Nightmare. Okay, so your accuracy is going to be 360 plus probably like another 60 or 70. You're going to need about 450 accuracy or close to it for Nightmare. If you're using him, let's say in Brutal, you're looking at about 350. Now, 350 is a really nice spot for Wukong because I'm not sure that he's Nightmare Hydra material. I'm not sure that he's not. By the way, if somebody out there runs him in Nightmare, you can say so. Like, that's great. But 350 is a really nice number for all PvE content and PvP. Because 350 is enough to buff strip anybody except resistance-based champions. Like champions that are specifically trying not to be stripped, right? So very few people run like Stone Skin plus 500 resistance. Right? You do one or the other. Now, there are some champions who are just like, you're going to come up against Duchesses and you're just not going to strip their buffs, right? It's just not going to happen. You're going to run up against Mithralas. You're not going to strip their buffs. But you're going to strip that buff off of most champions. Like maybe not the UDK. Maybe. But at 350, you're in a pretty good shape. If you can push that to 400, you're in really good shape. You can push that to 450, you're golden. Like 450 is definitely going to strip the vast majority of champions with a few exceptions. But I think 350 is a great number to run. I think mine runs around 355, 360, something like that. Works great. Not perfect, but works great. And that gives you that flexibility for him to run PvE and PvP. Right? You can still run him at 100% crit rate. You're probably going to run him around the same crit damage. You can do that, with the accuracy, as long as you get, the right gauntlet. Usually the gauntlet's going to be key. And if you can get one in the perception set, this is why, like, when I get crit damage gauntlets in perception, I love it. I'm always looking for crit damage gauntlets in perception, preferably with speed and crit rate. And if I can squeeze accuracy on there, or, that's even better. But you get so many of these. So one of the things you can do is, come in here to the forge. And if you have these pieces, when you're forging perception, use your gauntlet charm. Go after those crit damage gauntlets. I like doing that. I mean, you want to do this in damage sets as well, but I like doing that. And you have a lot of them, so it gives you an opportunity to do that. So I want to get back to the key. The key to 3v3 arena. Yeah, like I said, you need 25 champions who are in PvP. Not acceptable. What's it called? Like PvP usable builds. I don't know. There's a word for it. I can't think of the word at the moment. Appropriate. PvP appropriate builds. That's what I would say. They don't have to be specifically PvP, but of those 25 champions, you're going to need 5, 8, 10 of them are going to be specifically built for PvP. Now, you have this awesome PvP champion right here, Python. Some people don't think of him as a PvP champion. He is. He's amazing in live arena. He's god tier in live arena. All right, so good. So good. Get one in Stone Skin. Decently fast. Like I said, 250 is really good speed for him around there. 260 is really good. You could get him a little faster if you need to. I wouldn't run him at like 300 speed, but if you wanted to run him at like 280, maybe, that'd be okay. But I'd say somewhere between 250 and 275 is really good for a cleanser. You want a fast cleanser. And you know, you want them in 6P Stone Skin, and it's like, oh well, I'm running Stone Skin, but I'm running him fast. It's like, doesn't matter. It's the first hit that matters. Second, if he can get both of his skills off, he can get his cleanse and his revive off. That's all you need him for. You know, consider dedicating, you know, like Necrit is actually in pretty good place. I'd be okay with him just built the way he is, you know. But choose your nukers. Get Lady Mikage into a build that works in both places. Work on your speed gear. She is okay in Relentless. She's okay in Relentless. But again, I think, you know, the thing that we found is your Relentless gear is faster than your speed gear, but she needs more speed. I would love to run it. 251 is okay. I would love to run her at like 300. She shouldn't be as fast as Arbiter. Arbiter should be faster, but she is like a Kaimar where she needs to run fast. She needs to run up there near the top of your speed list. So she and Kaimar should probably be your two next fastest champions. You know, I don't know where you run Kaimar. The stun set's fine for PvP. Gotcha. By the way, Mashalad's a good PvP champion. He does this like double AoE. He kind of has a second AoE here on this A1. He's got the True Fear. It's pretty disruptive. He has a chance of stealing all buffs from the target before attacking on his A3. He can be really kind of, he can be scary on a go second team too. You can definitely put him as like your primary damage dealer. He doesn't, you know, you can think of him as a support because he does a lot of supporty things, but he's actually an attack-based champion and he hits hard. So you could definitely use him on a go second team. Kandrafon's another champion to really consider building in the future because he gives you something again for a go second team, or even like just kind of like an in-between team. Sometimes you build teams that are like fast, but not go first. Do you know what I mean? Like they're go second, but they're not slow. And he fits that really well because he has this passive. First of all, places a perfect veil buff on this champion for one turn each time an enemy's turn meter is filled, and this buff cannot be removed. So if you're going into an Arbiter team or any turn meter filled team, he's going to get this perfect veil that can't be removed. So he's going to be hard to target and hard to kill, right? Because remember, perfect veil doesn't just make you untargetable. It means you take 15% less damage, right? He self buffs increase attack, increase crit damage, and then his AoE hits really hard and grants an extra turn and resets the cooldown of this skill if it kills anybody. So you get an extra turn and then you just put up your veil again. You know, so you get the veil from the passive, you go into this, you get a kill, you go into this, you get another veil, you know, and you can come back around. This is now on, this would be on a 2-turn cooldown, you know. So, who did you just get booked? Mashalad? You just got Mashalad booked. Yeah. You know, so you want to think about who you want to dedicate to this if you want to really push this. And I would say turn meter fillers are going to be important. So like you've got a ways to go. I don't think it's just the champions that you have right now. I think you can get creative with the champions that you have right now and you can do some interesting things. You know, Walking Tomb Drang is really interesting in PvP. He's not a great PvP damage dealer, but he gets that HP burn out there. He can activate, and he's got this skill, which equalizes the HP of all your allies and then attacks an enemy. It hits decently hard, and it can be like a full team heal. He also reflects damage. Like there's all sorts of interesting things to his kit. So you can get creative with champions like this. You know, Feral has a decreased accuracy and a block buffs. He has an increased resistance, perfect veil. You know, so like you can use him in interesting ways. Pinthroy can be used. Like all of these champions can be used. The question is, you know, who do you have booked? Who do you have built? Who do you use in other places? And who can you dedicate to PvP? Or who can be used in their current builds in PvP? You know? Consider for PvP damage dealers, different blessings, you know, like, so, if you have a 5 or 6 star, Crushing Rend is often the one a lot of people like to use because it ignores a lot of defense. I think it's okay. I don't think it's as good as everybody's like, wow, it's amazing. You know, you ignore all this. It's like, yeah, it's good. It's very good. It's not the best. Obviously, polymorph on champions can be very useful. Another buff I really like is, blessing I really like is Soul Reap, especially if you have a 5-star or higher. Because basically it just allows you to like not kill somebody and still kill them. So it can be survived. Like people can actually survive this, especially, you know, like Necrit teams and stuff. You'll find that you'll come into certain teams that just don't die from Reaper. So I think that's why some people don't like it. But it can be really useful in like Wukong teams. Wukong running Soul Reap can be really nasty. Some other champions that could be really nasty. Anybody with an AoE A1 can run Soul Reap, and that can be really nice, especially if you're using like ally attacks or counter attacks. Because there's no cooldown on this. I don't think there's a cooldown. I think it just fires every turn. So you can like attack, and if it doesn't fire, and then you counter attack, or you ally attack, it can fire, you know, so that can be really nice. Temporal change can be nasty. Whenever an enemy receives a third active buff, instantly decreases the turn meter of all enemies by a certain amount. So you can use this on a support who's got some accuracy, because I do think it needs accuracy to land. So you're just messing with go first teams, right? Disrupting their rhythm, getting an opportunity to go, maybe kill the nuker, or, you know, put up your buffs before they get to go. So temporal change is like clearly a PvP, you know, blessing. So you want to consider all those as well. It's just one of those things. It's like, if you really want to invest in 3v3, it's a long-term commitment and it's significant resources. You know, I find that each champion I rebuild for PvP typically takes me anywhere from like, maybe like 15 million if they're close, to like 40 million if they're really far away. You know, you've got to change their blessings. You've got to change their masteries. You know, there's a lot that you have to do there. And you might have to roll up, you know, 10 or 12 pieces of gear to find your 6 pieces that you're putting on them, because the stats really matter. You know, so I hope these teams that we build for you provide you with like fodder for thought. You know, like you're not just going to plug them in and get better results. It's just they're conceptual, right? Whether it's a go first team, you know, go second team that's really disruptive, but has like that stone skin. We didn't build the bomb champion one. Remember the bomb champion one? It's really good. Again, stone skin on your bomb champion. You know, Necrit is awesome in arena. So you want to build a team around him, figure out what you can do. I think this Kymar team, you know, this ally attack team with Phoenix is kind of interesting, but we talked about other ways that you could use that as well. You could pair Phoenix with Necrit. You know, it's one of the things I like to do, honestly, and this is just happens. I play 3v3 manually. I like to see how each of these teams clicks. And what happens is over time, I figure out my solutions for each kind of team I come across. So I fight this guy, and then I fight this guy, and then I fight this guy, and then I just fight everybody. You know, if I'm even close, I just fight them, and I'm like, okay, how do I beat this team? Like, what is the solution to this team? And I'm looking at this, you know, I'm like, they've got Wukong, Terrace, UDK, and Gaius the Gleeful. I'm assuming UDK and Gaius are in Stone Skin. Maybe Terrace is also in Stone Skin, and Wukong's not. Of course, he's not. I've got to get rid of the bomb champion first, because the bomb champion can kill me. Wukong can strip my buffs. So if I bring Stone Skin into this team, that's weak, right? Stone Skin into Wukong is weak. Stone Skin into bomb champions is weak. So I'm like, all right, what do I need to do here? Well, I probably need to go first. If I have a block debuffs buff, that solves a lot of problems for the bomb champions, but then I have to worry about Wukong. So I want a block debuffs buff. I want a block revive. I want to go first. And I want a revive champion probably, because Terrace might wreck me, right? Plus I have to have enough damage to get through Terrace and his passive and all that jazz. So that's a tricky team to build around. But the good news is they don't have a reviver, right? They don't have any other defenses really. That their healer is UDK, right? It's just 3 damage dealers. You can build a team to beat this, but it's like, okay, how do I put that team together, right? And then if I can beat this team, what does that mean for my other teams? Like I need to go first here, but I don't want to use my go first team because I might want to use my go first team into their go first team. I might be faster than their Arbiter. If I'm faster than their Arbiter, I'm going to use my Arbiter into their Arbiter. That's a nice, easy win. Then I need a go first team that goes into a Wukong speed aura, but is still faster. UDK is going to be built slow. Gaius is going to probably be the fastest. It's either going to be UDK or Gaius is the fastest. So if I can have just a little bit of speed here, maybe Kymar, maybe this is the team that I need. Maybe I need that Kymar. Maybe I need Seeker. Maybe I need Haikatoon. Maybe I need somebody to just get me ahead of this rotation. And then I need that Phoenix to kill Wukong. I need a Pythion or somebody to give me that cleanse, right? Maybe a high resistance reviver instead. You know, you could do that. But my point is, like, I fight each of these teams to see who pops up again and again. Right? What kind of teams pop up again and again? What kind of combos pop up again and again? Look at this second team here. This is a bomb team, and it's pure defense. Reviver, cleanser. We've got the second cleanser with the shield, increased defense, but the increased attack for the rat. We've got the UDK to protect everybody else, probably in Stone Skin. Right? I don't think anybody else is in Stone Skin except maybe the rat himself. Right? So it's like we've got some Stone Skin to deal with. We're going to have a slow UDK to deal with. We've got a lot of cleanses. We've got a block debuffs to deal with. We got that bomb. And everything is countered by a block debuffs buff on our team. That's all we need. We put a Pythion on our team. And as long as we go before the rat goes, we have a block debuffs up and the rat doesn't land any damage. Like, he still can hit hard, by the way. He can still, like, just do straight damage. But without the bombs, it's not as huge a deal. Now, if he lands the bombs and we cleanse them, we get the poisons that are can't remove and stuff like that. But the problem with the rat is he decreases the duration of the bombs, right? So he can land them, then decrease the duration, and then your cleanser doesn't get a turn. Because as soon as his turn goes, the bombs go off and he dies. And Stone Skin doesn't help. But all we need is a block debuffs to go before. Or we run our own Mithrala, who's in high resist. He can't land the bombs on her. And then Mithrala cleanses the bombs. And this team is easy to kill. Like, all you have to do is, you only have to kill 2 champions. You have to kill Elva and you have to kill the rat. Once those 2 are dead, you have all the time in the world to kill Mithrala and UDK. And it might take a long time if you're not bringing a lot of damage, right? Like, that could be a problem. Great champion to bring into this is your bomb champion. Bring Lord Shazar here, right? And if you go first, right, and you can kill that Elva, then you don't have to, well, no, maybe not. Maybe not bombs. Don't bring bombs here. Never mind. You got 2 cleansers there. It's a pain in the butt. Right? But so, like, each of these is just, it's just a lesson in team building. Like, all right, here's an Arbiter with the Torm and the Cold. I can't bring my Arbiter team into that Arbiter team. Right? Because Torment's going to freeze me. So even if I win the speed race, I lose the speed race. So now I have to come into this team, to this go first team, with a go second team that can handle the Torment freezes if I get buffs, and can also handle all the debuffs from Lydia and the damage from Gentoro. So I want to think about Force Affinity champions. Again, Pythion's perfect here, right? In Stone Skin. They don't have any buff removals. I don't have to worry about that, right? So a Stone Skin Pythion solves this problem, right? probably want to avoid a Necrit here because of Torment. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't run Necrit. So maybe Necrit can run into Torment, maybe he can't. You can figure that out. You know. But a lot of times, like, teams will have one champion solutions or two champion solutions, or sometimes you have to build a whole roster around it. The other thing you want to do is you want to check the power of those teams. So this team at 325,000 power is different than it is at 250, is different than it is at 450. Right? Because at 450, you know it's going first. At 250, you might be faster than it, even if you're not that fast. Right? Or it might not matter. Like, it just might not have the damage to blow you up, and you can go a different team. So 3v3 is very time consuming. The absolute best strategy is to live here in Silver 2 or Silver 3. Silver 3 if you can, right? One-man defenses for 4.5 days. 2.5 days you put in your real defense and you hover, and you will get thousands of gold bars. You'll have 50,000 gold bars before you know it. You will be able to buy the Ancient Shard every week, the Void Shard every 2 weeks. I don't buy the Epic Skill Tomes, but if you need Epic Skill Tomes, you can buy those. And I typically buy a refresh accessory every day, and I buy the energy during fusions. And I have no trouble. I don't go down in gold bars. I hover around 30 to 40,000 gold bars as long as I'm active. Yeah. That's what I would recommend. The only reason to push higher is if you really have a ton of gold bars and you want that legendary skill tome, that's one reason to push higher. The other reason is for the Ramantu missions. And you're not doing them. Like, you're currently not doing them. At some point you may, and like you will get to a point. You can see here it says reach bronze 3 in tag team arena. So in like your I think at the end of your second batch or in the beginning of your third, you have to reach gold 1 in order to get Ramantu. And that's really the biggest reason to get to gold. Other than that, it's too much of a headache. And I would just stay in silver. Uncle Dan hitting us up again. Hit us up last week, hit us up this week. Thank you so much, Uncle Dan. I appreciate the support. Let me say this to everybody. If you come here and watch, you support the channel. If you hit the like button or make a comment on the video, you support the channel. If you become a member of the Discord community, you support the channel. If you join our YouTube channel with the membership, which is pretty cool, you get a little tag, you get some fun emotes, emojis, and you get a little area of the Discord to hang out in. And sometimes I communicate a little bit more with the members. You're supporting the channel, and I thank everybody. And if you want to donate here directly, that is a huge way to support the channel. So thank you so much to Uncle Dan. And also LFC donated earlier today. We get a couple every live stream, and it's absolutely fantastic. And just another reminder, another way to support the channel, if you're interested, is I offer paid takeover services now. So whether you want coaching or like a classic takeover, I do both. And you can just DM me in Discord, and I'll send you the pricing and scheduling information for that. So thanks so much, Uncle Dan. That's awesome. That is absolutely fantastic. Okay, that is it for me today. I made it to 5 o'clock. My voice is going, but I will be around this week. The videos should start. I haven't done a video in like 10 days or something. I will be doing videos again this week. And if you have had a takeover, thank you so much for letting me tool around on your account. That is an expression of trust. I do appreciate that. Also, don't be afraid to update me. Like, send me updated results. Say this helped, this didn't help. You know, you did this and I didn't do anything, or I don't understand why you did this. If you have questions, absolutely shoot me questions. Also, if you're now a member of our Discord community, ask questions in the Discord. We have a lot of really good players in our Discord community. It's not just free-to-play players. There are spenders too. It's not just early game players. There are end game players too. And everybody loves to help out. So definitely do that. I think we also maybe have a few spots left in some of the clans in the cluster. Currently have 4 active clans in the cluster. Probably going to expand that again. We had 5, and then we had some people leave the game, And so we kind of consolidated down to 4, but we'll probably expand back to 5 in the near future. And if you're looking for an active clan for Siege or not, you don't have to do Siege. We have some clans. So there's an application process right there in the Discord. And you can just look in the clan section and there's a clan application. You can fill it out. All right. And Robert Hewitt is looking for active players in his clan, Cook the Goose. So Robert, thanks for the takeover fun today. That is it for me, folks. Thanks so much for hanging out. And yeah, I'm happy to be home. Happy to see you guys again. I will definitely have a video out later this week, but then I'll see you again on next Tuesday during Takeover Tuesday. All right. Everybody have a good one. I'll see you soon.